Well, what kind of services you offer?
Alright, so my little special table of display, 17-inch tyres for the Moto team bikes, so there's a few people that aren't aware we carry those on the van. Chest protectors for the kids as well, so just another little thing out. Popular stuff, 2-stroke oil and gearbox oil for the Mini GP bikes and the Mini Motos. We've got brake cleaner, which everybody uses brake cleaner all the time just to get it all cleaned up. Then we have our knee sliders, bestseller. Got to have knee sliders. The kids love knee sliders. So we've got the Whiz patterned ones and the new Race Shop ones, which you may have seen at BSB with quite a few of the Race Shop knee sliders by many of the support class riders. Handlebar grips, everybody likes fresh handlebar grips, so they get a bit scuffed up in a few crashes, so replacements of them. And some new in shiny parts for the Blatter bikes there, so lightweight alloy forks, a billet clutch bell carrier, and a very, very sexy floating front brake disc.
I think it's pretty safe to say that if you weren't here, the entire paddock would fall apart and no one would be able to do anything, basically.
Oh, I don't want to take that much credit. It's amazing how you can get by when the service is not there, but when the service is there, you rely on it massively. So the tyre changing, 10 to 8 yesterday morning, they were queuing for tyres to get changed, which, if you've got to do that on your hands and knees, that's hard work.
I mean, I think it just goes to show how appreciated you are around here and how much your efforts, you help absolutely everyone here in the paddock, and it really is great to say. So thank you very much, Ian, an absolute pleasure, and again, thank you for all of your services.
You're very welcome, guys. We'll see you about soon.
Now joining us, some very special guests, a trio of very popular faces in the paddock, I think it's safe to say. We've got Gary Harrison and Ben O'Keefe. Boys, pleasure to have you here. We'll start from the left and just move along, but how are we all doing?
We're doing very well, thank you very much.
That is great to hear, and looking forward to the weekend?
Yes.
There was a cautious yes, that. Is there something going on that we need to know about, or is it just, maybe not that confident on the bike or something?
We're getting a bit of grief from the South Africans. And, that's all I can say on the subject.
No, we've heard about this war that's kicked off. We know that the South African camp is just over there, so you're near to enemy territory. What's the game plan for taking them down?
I'm going to hang around at the back, slow them all down, let the two lads here overtake, take the glory. That is the plan.
That sounds like a great plan. We'll move a little bit on down the line. Now you've got a big task this weekend. You've got to finish the race and not crash out in the last corner, I think is the plan.
Yeah, I've been concentrating on that last corner. Still got a bit of PTSD from last year, but yeah, we're staying on the bike so far.
I mean, that's great too. Obviously, when it's a natural racing situation, we saw, all the plans will go out the window as they always do, and it could be tough getting around there. It's a very gentle right-hand kink. It's really difficult. But moving on from that, how's things on the bike?
Yeah, feeling good so far. Just trying to get back to where I was last year, but on the bike, and hopefully I can play somewhere decent.
And again, are you going to be trying to beat the South Africans as well, I'm assuming?
I'm trying to beat everyone. But we'll see what happens. As we say, it all changes in the race, and there's no tactic or play that will stay the same from start to finish, so we'll see.
Absolutely. And finally, let's get down to the end of the line. How are we feeling?
I'm really good, yeah, really good.
That's great to hear. What's your plan this weekend? Get out, ride a bike, go fast?
Yes, my plan mainly is I'm not bothered about the South Africans. I'm more bothered about beating Harry and Gary. I'm not bothered about the South Africans because their team leader, Malcolm Strin, he's not in South African. He's from Cwmbran. So he's Welsh. Yeah, I tell you. So he's racing for South Africa. He's Welsh. That's just wrong. Wrong.
Yeah, I mean, my geography's not great, but as far as I'm aware, Wales isn't near South Africa. Correct me if I'm wrong. But so yeah, how's that worked out then that they've managed to get a Welshman racing for them?
Just cheating South Africans, innit? It's what they do. But we're bigger than that. We're not going to let it bother us. We're not going to let it affect us. We're just going to go out there, do what we do, and then afterwards sing some Welsh hymns or something just to wind them up.
That sounds brilliant. Well, boys, thanks very much for speaking to us. Best of luck this weekend. Can't wait to see you on track.
Thanks, Steve. Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye. Thank you, mate. Thank you.
And now the man who is self-proclaimed as the oldest in the FAB-Racing paddock joining us is Mark Payne from the senior Mini Moto. It's great to have you here with us once again. How are you feeling looking into the weekend?
A bit hesitant yesterday, but today, bike's running really, really well. I'm feeling good. I think I've got a chance of being somewhere today. Maybe in the top 5, top 6.
Well, we'll look forward to it. Wait and see what you can do out on track. You said you're turning 59 just off camera earlier today, but you're still out there, still hungry. Age clearly not affecting you yet then?
Not at the moment when I'm riding well and the bike's running well. There's no stopping me. I'm coming for Matt Birkin.
Well, I hope so too, because it's going to get boring if he just carries on winning everything.
Yeah, I'm just going to knock him off.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to knock him off, be my guest. I'm not a steward, so I won't tell you what's going to happen to you afterwards. What is the game plan for this weekend, though? You said it's running well. You're looking for top 5s. Is it just kind of consistent points, or are you going to be pushing for podiums, maybe?
This track, because there isn't so much long straights, I don't lose out on my weight so much. So, like, I'm sort of 13, just over 13 stone. Three Sisters, I'll lose a lot out on the back straight. Here, it's quite tight and twisty, so I don't think I'll lose out so much. So I can be competitive here. So I'm really looking forward to it at the minute.
Well, so are we. Mark, thank you so much for talking to us.
It's okay, anytime.
British Talent Cup Championship leader Philip Stroviak, pleasure to have you back with us at FAB-Racing once again. And this time, you're racing as well, got your leathers on.
Yeah, really big thank you to Craig Bolden. He's letting me borrow his Ovale just for a bit of fun. I only found out what it really was yesterday, but yeah, just here to have some fun, relax a little, and you know, nice weather, spend some nice relaxing time with friends.
That is great to hear. I know you're out in a short moment, so we won't keep you too long, but let's just talk about your most recent round in the R&G British Talent Cup. Silverstone, obviously, pole position, race 1 win as well. Kept the championship lead. You must be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, overall it was a good weekend. Qualified pole position, happy with that in the wet. Then race 1 was really windy, but came away with the win. And then race 2 crashed out of second on the final lap, final sector in the wet. But I can't really be upset because it was a good weekend nevertheless, and it's always mega with MotoGP. So now there's a bit of a break till Snetterton, and hopefully we can all just chill out a bit. You know, back-to-back weekends was quite busy anyway, and with my exams I missed FP1 at Silverstone. But yeah, now just chill out a bit and reset for Snet.
Yeah, but obviously a little bit of a break, now a chance for a breather, but still, you know, racing in front of a Grand Prix crowd, that's got to be pretty special.
Yeah, definitely. It's always a great experience at Silverstone.
Well, Philip, thanks for talking to us, and best of luck this weekend. I'm sure you'll be taking it maybe a little bit easier than you normally do. Don't want to hurt yourself or anything. Yeah, thanks a lot. We'll see you out on track.
Yeah, thank you.
Bit of FAB-Racing royalty joining us now, Marco Halt. What an absolute privilege to have you back with us here at Ellough Park. How you been? It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a long time. Yeah, really excited to be back. Yeah, just give it what we got and do what we can, you know.
Absolutely. What have you been doing then since you've been away? Where you been? How you been riding?
Yeah, so I've been in the ASPK Talent and also the Mia Racing Promo 3 Championship. But yeah, that's all I've done since I've been away. Yeah.
And, how are you running in those? I'm assuming you're still winning loads of races as well?
No, to be honest, I'm struggling quite a bit. Well, I say I'm struggling. In the promo, I'm there. We just had some problems with the chattering. And then in the SPK, we had a couple of problems. But yeah.
Well, sorry to hear that, but I'm sure you're working on it, and again, it is great to have you back here as well. I'm sure you're looking to pick up where you left off at FAB-Racing, straight back to winning ways.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah.
We'll have to wait to see. Marco, it's great to have you back in the paddock. Best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Following on from a strong start in the first round of this season at Lid, joining us now is Freddy Taylor. How are you feeling today, Freddy?
Good, hoping to get top 3 in qualifying.
And how are you finding riding at Ellough Park? Is it one that suits you pretty well?
Yeah, it's my favourite track. I love the flowy corners and it's just a fast track really.
And how has practice been for you so far over the weekend?
Good. Top 5 pretty much every session. So good.
And have you got a part of the track which is your favourite to ride round?
Probably like when you go like flat out and then you like go into the long left and you keep it flat, that one.
Yeah, and what are you hoping to achieve by the end of the weekend?
Hopefully a couple trophies, couple medals, and yeah, top 3.
Good luck this weekend, Freddie. Hope you do well.
Thanks.
Super Sebastian Gazlowski. First time we've spoken to you this year, I believe, and it's great to have your face back in the FAB-Racing paddock. How are you feeling? Looking forward to the second round of the season?
Yeah, good. Just trying to follow on from Lid.
And it was a pretty solid weekend for you at Lid, wasn't it? Run us through what happened there.
So I rode in the 50R and the 50cc Metricats and won 6 races. And I'm really proud. So was my team.
Yeah, I mean, it was certainly a weekend to remember. You had an almighty run of things. How's the bikes running this weekend? Are we looking at another 6-race sweep, or do you reckon there might be a bit more competition this time round?
More competition this round because there's more on the grid. So, yeah.
And run us through Ellough Park. Is it a track you like, or is it one maybe you struggle a little bit at?
Ellough Park's a fast-flowing circuit, so I really like it.
That's great to hear. And then looking across the rest of the season as well, are you just kind of aiming for race wins or already setting yourself up for a championship battle maybe?
Yep.
I like that confidence. Well, Seb, best of luck this weekend. Thanks very much for talking to us and can't wait to see you out on track.
Thank you.
On the road to MotoGP and the feeder series to the British Talent Cup and Red Bull Rookies, this is FAB-Racing Minibikes British Championship.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Sunday's coverage of round 2 of the MasterMac FAB-Racing Minibike British Championship. We are here still at Ellough Park, and we are looking forward to a great afternoon's worth of racing. We've still got a couple of race 2s to run through before all of our race 3s as well, so don't worry if you've missed some of this morning's action. If you missed yesterday's action, still an opportunity to see all of your favourite riders out on the track. You join myself, Ross McIntyre, in the commentary box alongside me for one day and one day only, for the time being anyway. It is the legend that is Zach Sweeney. Zach, great to have you back with us. A great morning's racing. We're still a little bit delayed, unfortunately, going into the afternoon, so we're still going to have to wait around just a little bit before we kickstart our racing once again. But been very enjoyable so far today.
Yeah, it really has been. I've been loving I was about to say guest appearance, but to say guest would imply I'm someone important, which I'm not. But yeah, no, I've been loving my first morning back in 2025. I absolutely love doing FAB Racing in 2024. And yeah, round 2 at Ellough Park has proven no different. Of course, my local circuit, I absolutely love it. I think it's a fantastic track, and that was paramount over the course of this morning's racing. We saw some fantastic battling for all of the classes, of course, that we did have. And don't worry if you missed them and you're only now just joining us. Of course, I hope you are all having a fantastic day. It's becoming a little bit more overcast and windy here at Ellough Park, but still quite a nice day, and you're joining us just at the right time. We're about to sort of get lunch done. Couple of more things that need to be done before we can get bikes back out on track, but I think we've got 13 or 14 races left of the day, so plenty more action still to come. And of course, like we were saying earlier, not right now, but definitely in the near future, the championship is going to be something that we start to think about.
Absolutely. It is only round 2 of the 2025 season, but there's only 7 rounds this year, so come soon, it is going to be paramount that we start looking at who are our favourites for the championship going forward. Should be very interesting to see how that's all going to unfold. Some championships has all been up in the air. Some championships so far this year have been utterly dominated. Nelly Nuth, for example, 5 wins out of 5 races so far in the AC40 Interclass. New for this season, of course, with the 12mm exhaust restrictor on those Blatter Mini Motos. So will be interesting to see how it's all going to unfold. You see the riders, some of them starting to wait around again. We are just at the end of the lunch break. There is a short, unexpected delay, unfortunately, so it'll be a little break before we do get going once again. We've had 2 red flag delays today already, so we are slightly behind the schedule, unfortunately, as well. But it means more racing to enjoy this afternoon. And of course, we always run through things here very, very quickly at FAB and Ellough Park as well. We've been rattling through them, so I don't think that'll be too much of an issue moving forward.
Yeah, no, definitely not. And again, it's it speaks volumes as to the quality of the team that we've got. Obviously at Fab, and of course Ellough Park as well. No racing can be sort of possible without the guys and gals behind the scenes that push the buttons and make everything work as smoothly as possible. Of course, big thank you to all the marshals, both those that are working here at Ellough Park, and of course all of our roaming marshals as well that compete and help with the junior classes and making sure that everyone is as safe as possible. And of course the ambulance crew that have been a little bit busy over the course of this morning. They're doing a fantastic job. And of course all of the parents and children that make everything run nice and smoothly and cooperate and follow the rules and do what they're told, which is always quite good. But at the end of the day, even though they're fierce on track, they are still children at the end of the day. Trying to fill this space with some sort of games. I definitely could not do that, I can tell you that much.
A big yo-yo, I guess. It was a good catch. Yeah, I remember using those things in school, but I don't remember what they're called. Anyway, while we're still waiting for this delay, why don't we take a trip down memory lane back to last year, and we're going to go back and have a listen to some highlights from this time last year at Ellough Park 2024, where it was myself and Zach alongside me as well.
Lead into the final corner, nicely done.
It's lights out, we are underway. It's an okay start from our Joe Prime, but a great start from Wilson Dill. Pressure from the 911 of Jensen Bishop, who had a rocket ship of a start there. And there goes Jensen Bishop up the inside.
Is he close enough for a then, or is Wilson Dill's going to take victory here for the LS2 Mini GP70 race? Round number 1, race 1, from pole position goes the way of Wilson Dill.
We're on the way in the opening race of the AC40 Pros. It is Wilson Dilch who's going to take the first win of the day. Brilliant racing from the 85. Archie O'Brien manages to hold on to second place. Finger wag shows all you need to know. He's number 1, but who's going to be number 3? Caden Rackton takes second. I believe Preston Baker. We are underway. Lucas Brown gets a good launch. So does JD King. So does the 20 of Alfie Garrett. King to the lead in turn 1. I'm nice when the words are right.
Right now, he has got a good chance of doing it.
Leading the British Talent Cup at the moment. King's left the door open. Brown sits him up. But it's not over yet. Jamie King is still in this fight. It's Lucas Brown has stolen it out of death. Checkered flag waves. Lucas Brown wins. Is everybody okay out there?
Wow, that's a different looking flag marshal in the form of Jamie King. Goodness me, he's been promoted.
And it's race now, we're on the way. What a start there from Josh Perkins. Can we get down? Can we get down? Get out to see it jump around.
Oliver Hall trying to launch a counter-attack and put his way back into P4 as they round into the first corner of the circuit. He's on the inside and he takes the position quite nicely indeed. Getting underneath, and goodness me, Logan Cousins is not even going to matter about the penalty. He rounds his way towards the final corner in the race lead.
Ryan nose to the inside as they roll off the throttle to tip it in, then straight back on it again. He's going to have to hold on for a second. Come coming onto the final lap now. This is going to the wire.
It really is. Let's see what Archie O'Brien can do. Last lap flag is flown. Archie O'Brien this time to the left-hand side as they run their way up through the ascent. Not quite close enough, but he's going to try and get the upcurve. Let's keep it on the edge of pinning it. Who is going to come out on top as this one? Archie O'Brien looks. A mistake from Dills as they're searching for victory. 2 corners left to go.
This is neck and neck. Any of the top 4 can be on top. But through the line, drag race stop. O'Brien inside. Dills outside. Wilson Dills by 700 takes it at the line. Jump up, get down. Jump around. Baker, does he make it stick as they go side? Oh, brilliant from Preston Baker. Last chance saloon. Is it over though? Is it a drag race? Up to the line. I think it's done. I think it will be Preston Baker.
Jamie King sees the checkered flag first and is victorious at Three Sisters. Finally, he's able to celebrate.
And you can see how much that means. Years of disappointment, years of pain fade away in an instant.
Sean knows, he knows what to expect, and he chucks the bike back through and really takes the race lead. It's coming down to the wire. Hot fight for the championship. Byron Johnson, the outside line through the bootleg. Shaw once again sees it coming. They're going to accelerate their way to the line, and it's a slow exit for Johnson. A track race to the checkered flag. Who's going to see it first? Travis Shaw takes victory for the Mini GP 50 race. Race 3, Kingston Wilson and Roy brings you this amazing championship. Round 4 of the LS2 Helmets Mini GP 70s is about to get itself underway. Big wheelie there from Wilson Dills as he jumps 2 riders going into turn 1. What an absolutely sensational launch, it must be said. He is flying. Look there, goodness me, Byron Johnson loves that move to the inside as Honey Ben. Byron Johnson runs right out Sonny Ben, but gets the acceleration inside line for the final corner and takes the race lead with 5 laps left to go in the LS2 Helmets Mini GP 70s.
Here we go, the run to the line, and it's Byron Johnson who wins his first ever MetSpeed 70 race. Congratulations, Byron Johnson.
Here's some good sportsmanship from Byron, giving Wilson Dilks, his fellow competitor, a ride back to the pit lane, which was very nice. That poor suspension looks quite down, I must say.
Leaders side by side. That is the 96 of Caleb Ratcliffe. Race number 3 of round 4 goes the way of the 991 of Rex Austin, who waited patiently. We are underway. Great start there for Will Halt. And there is nothing to separate Will Halt and Matt Perkins, who tries to launch the move into Billy Bent but runs it way too deep. Amy King muscles him out into turn 1 and will take the lead of the race, as well as Ollie Horner, I believe that is, sliding up into second briefly. And number 4 for Jamie King, pit by Sonic. Logan Cousins is your 2024 OH Logistics LC40 Elite Champion. What a weekend. What a year for that young man. He has been absolutely phenomenal
Of course, sharing some congratulations. Great respect shown there by Mason Frederick with a little burnout to boot from the pair of them. It is lights out and we are underway. Bit of a pick up there from Byron Johnson. Look at Wilson Dilks to the inside. But as he rounds the final few corners, it is brilliance from Byron Johnson to take victory in race 1 here at Ellough Park. It is lights out and it is a great start once again from Nelly Newt, but Emilio Pereira, great phase 2, Newt to the inside. And he is the 2024 Standard Class champion. Points to the camera, not just a champion, but a winning race number 1 as well.
Say marry me on the back of the shirt. I'm sure he's flattered, Kim, but...
Corners to go to the number 96 for a dominant overall victory and a victory in the open class as well. Will Howard pops the wheelie out of the final bend and he will be victorious in race number 1. What a victory for the number 96, but we wait for the number 1 bike to cross the line. Sean Whittaker will take the Standard Class victory surely. For the second time, Matt Birkin is the senior Mini Moto champion in FAB-Racing.
It's going to be a track race through the line, but I think it's going to be Richard Holmes-Williams that sees the checkered third. Could it well be King? I think not. He does. He takes it by 12 thousandths of a second. Jamie King wins it at Ellough Park.
What on earth, Jamie King? How's he done that one? How's he pulled that one out of the bag? He's won by 12 hundredths of a second. That's unreal.
On the road to MotoGP.
1, 2, 3.
FAB-Racing Minibikes British Championship.
Hello and welcome back to Sunday's action here at the second round of the MasterMac FAB-Racing Minibike British Championship at Ellough Park. Just gone through some highlights from last year's campaign from a lot of our classes. Unfortunately here, still experiencing a delay after the lunch break, so we are still yet to get our next race underway. That is race number 2 for the Mini GP's 50s, brought to you by King's Tool Centre. But panic not, we shall keep you updated as soon as we understand what is going on. So if you've just tuned in, hello and welcome. If you've missed this morning's action, it looks like you may have a little bit of time to go back and check some of it back. You can always watch it again. Go back and watch Saturday's action if you missed that as well. Myself, Ross McIntyre, Zach Sweeney alongside me in the commentary box this afternoon as well. So not quite racing yet, Zach, but still a great morning's racing and lots to look forward to across the rest of the day.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can't appreciate the good without some of the delays, I suppose, and it just makes us all that more excited to get this afternoon's racing underway. Of course, like we said, all throughout the morning with the majority of the race 2s under our belt, we still have got the 50s, the Motor Teams, the Extremes, and then the GP50 R class as well, before we then do it all over again for their final race of the weekend here at Ellough Park. Of course, making up the second round of the 2025 campaign, 7 rounds in total. We've ticked off one of them and we're almost done with the second one as well. Looking at the calendar, Ross, I mean, obviously there are a lot of different circuits. Hooton Park, though, is one that we didn't take to over the course of 2024. It's one that I didn't go to last year. At the moment, sort of looking at it as an overall, which is your favourite to sort of take to? Which one sort of, I don't know, tickles your fancy most?
Well, I mean, I do love Three Sisters, it must be said. I love it here at Ellough Park. My Three Sisters is your Ellough Park in terms of how close it is to my place. But I do love it there. It's such a fast track, and it's so different, really, to a lot of the other tracks we go to. You know, you look at Ellough Park, you look at Hooton Park, which we're going to next. You look at all these places, and it's all very tight, twisty, technical. And then we go to Three Sisters, and especially on the geared, the bigger bikes, it is so fast, and it's ruthless, and you've really got to be brave around that place as well. It really does separate the wheat from the chaff, and I really like that. Of course, we're going there twice as well, so I'm very happy. Love a bit of Rowra as well. I mean, I just love the whole calendar. It's quite hard to choose. I'm a huge fan of Rowra. Yes, it is difficult to get to, but it's such a wonderful track. It's in such a wonderful part of the world as well. And then Clay Pigeon is possibly one of the greatest karting tracks in the world, let alone the UK. So much history there. It is really, really fantastic. But of course, here at Ellough, it's been fantastic. I love it here. It was great last time round at Lid as well. We've got a great calendar, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. I'm sure all the riders are as well. A few of them still waiting to get us go racing. There we see Henry McCartney, Matthew Thomas as well, I can see, waiting to get us going again. Again, it will be the Mini GP 50s race number 2, brought to you by King's Two Wheel Centre, up next as soon as we are able to go racing. Just a reminder, let us know, of course, who you want to win, who you're supporting, who do you think's going to win, but let us know as well for the FAB-Racing Rookies Cup who you think the rider of the round is, because there is a new award being launched this weekend, and we are going to announce who the winner is towards the end of race number 3, and the rider of the round gets a little trophy, not necessarily the race winner in all 3 races, or had a winner, second place, a third place, whatever. It's just whoever has impressed us the most, as some of the riders clearly getting a little bit bored now. That looks like that's Daisy Poland being carted around there in a wheelbarrow of some description. Still 2 wheels, I guess. You can't escape the 2-wheel nature. But yeah, not quite the bike racing that we're used to seeing here at Ellough Park. So hopefully not too long until we get racing. Zach Sweeney, this of course is your local track. I'm sure that you know this probably better than anybody, quite frankly, in the paddock. You're here all the time, you're commentating, karting, doing whatever. Talk us around this place. What does it take to be quick around here at Ellough Park?
Sheer talent. That's it. That's all you need. No, obviously, of course, you can see some of the marshals there taking a walk around. Ellough Park is one of those where it's quite long, and as well, one of the big shocks for those that maybe if you do karting or even sort of mini bikes around, a lot of these riders go to indoor circuits initially. A big shock around Ellough Park is the curbs, and considering we are in East Anglia, there is actually a little bit of undulation as well. Surprisingly, there's elevation in this part of the country. That all sort of spruces up some intrigue there. You can see the marshals going side by side. We've got 4 abreast going into turn number 2. But yeah, as a whole, sort of Ellough Park, turn number 1 is a long sweeping right-hander where you really sort of want to attack an early apex, because yes, it comes round in itself, but if you turn in too late, you sort of wash wide and you have that understeer. So turning in early, quite key. Then as you can see, these marshals approaching towards turn at number 2. Again, another long sweeping right-hander, double apex as well. So you sort of attack the initial one. Some very good Tyson Fury impressions as well going on there. Fantastic footwork from that one marshal. And then, yeah, attack the first apex, try and get the bike or the cart pitched in again to get the acceleration towards the hairpin. 2 hairpins, of course, here at Ellough Park. You've got the first one, then the second one. We, of course, use the second one. Bit later, on the brakes, opens the door up for a nice overtaking opportunity. A lot of curbs that you can use as well, so have to be careful of track limits, not to use almost too much. And then you've got the long sweeping sections that you're going to see riders on the absolute limit, a flat left into a flat right where you almost just ever so slightly roll off the throttle. Then the undulation kicks in. You go up, the bike almost deloads as you go up, almost sort of when you hit the bottom or go up on a set of swings at the park, you feel the weight lift up. That deloads the bike, gives you a little bit less grip, and then it all comes planting back down. The suspension compresses, loading the tyres up, giving you that grip to go into another pretty good overtaking opportunity with the chicane. However, an absolute monster curb on the inside. I have become victim to that a couple of times in go-karting and have had a very sore backside a number of times where I've just absolutely munched the curb for breakfast, lunch and dinner. Into the paddock hairpin, of course, and a really good overtaking opportunity there with some good braking. And then, of course, the penultimate corner here. Again, an overtaking opportunity if you're brave, but all about the exit onto that long pitch straight where you've got a very long right-hander as well, which should be easy unless your name is Jamie King, one of the O'Keeffes or Matt Birkin, who have fallen victim to it in the past. Overall, I mean, Ellough Park is just one of those circuits It's I think it's the longest track here in East Anglia at just over 1,100 metres long. And it's a great one.
It is indeed. We're starting to see two battles forming now in this marshal race. The pack splitting up slightly, although the rear pack now starting to catch up, starting to get a bit of a jog on as well. I think they're just doing some reconnaissance, making sure everything on the circuit is as it should be. Again, we just saw them rearranging a tyre barrier a moment ago. I saw one of the riders meeting that in a race too earlier on this morning. Of course, a big thank you to all the marshals that enable us to go racing, and the medics and everybody here who means that we can go racing as safely as we can. Their efforts are appreciated. Without them, it simply wouldn't be possible. So thank you very much. The sun is now beaming down here in Suffolk. The wind still picking up quite heavily. Different direction to where it was yesterday as well. You can see, I believe that's the Bahraini flag flying in the background there. It's actually giving a tailwind down into Paddock Bend. So you're going to need to brake a little bit earlier into there, because you're going to be having a higher speed. You've just got that extra assistance from behind, but it does give you just a little bit of extra momentum, and that almost a short shoot coming in to the penultimate couple of corners. But apart from that, it's not really giving you an advantage or a disadvantage anywhere else on the circuit. So that is just something to note in mind. If you see a few riders going a little bit deep into Paddock Bend, it's probably they've just been caught out a little bit by some stronger winds. But good to see the sun shining once again. There was a little bit of cloud cover on earlier on, but it really is a lovely day here in Suffolk. I mean, it is officially summer now, of course, 1st of June today, and it is a wonderful day to go racing, and hopefully won't be too long before we do. Again, we are still under red flag conditions after the lunch break. We were in red flag before, had on the lunch break, and we've come back and we are unfortunately still under red flag conditions. We will let you know and update you with any information as soon as we have it, and hopefully won't be too long till we get racing. And I can tell you right now that I can see a few of the riders standing out down by the dummy grid, the holding area. I think they're going to go a bit bored and they're wanting to go racing as well.
Yeah, obviously trying to keep children occupied where they've got machines that are capable of going up to 70 mile an hour. You've got a racetrack that's not being used. They want to go and use it, and unfortunately they can't at the moment. So they're making do. Of course, we saw some wheelbarrow races. We saw yo-yos out in force, and also just trying to use as much as they can to keep themselves occupied. There you can see Roger giving them a bit of a brief as to how it's going to go. So the marshal's getting briefed on how the rest of the day is going to run. Hopefully we can get some of that information here as well to update you guys at home. Still at the moment the start time to be announced, but we will be going back underway with the Mini GP 50s, brought to you of course by King's Two Wheel Centre. Of course, over the course of 2025 we're only one round in, so not too much that we can read into it that way, but from what I can remember from 2024, the 50s was one of the best classes. In the end, 6 points separating the top two in the championship, 27 separating the top three. There was virtually nothing in it, and you had Byron Johnson, Frankie Watson and Travis Shaw swapping places here, there and everywhere in the bid for that 50 crown, and it brought some incredible moments with it as well.
It absolutely did. It's a class that always provides some fireworks. The first step for young riders onto geared Grand Prix style bikes. Yes, for some of them it might be their first or their second round ever racing on these machines, and of course it's a whole different ballpark compared to the twist and go Mini Motos they'll have grown up racing. But for some of them they've been on there a little bit longer, you get those clashes of experience. But these are proper racing machines. They're fast, they're powerful, they are punishing as well if you get it wrong and make a mistake, and they're hard to ride, they really are, but they go out and always put on a show and always put on some fantastic racing as well. So Roger Keys, the race director here at FAB-Racing, still just giving the marshals a quick discussion. Hopefully everything is okay, and then we can get going very, very shortly. If you're thinking about turning over to the Formula One, absolutely don't, because here at Ellough Park it has been brilliant racing all weekend, and that is set to continue. Of course, want to send best of luck over to some of our Fab graduates racing at Jerez this weekend in Junior GP, the likes of Sullivan Mounsey and Lucas Brown, a couple others in there, a few racing in the European Talent Cup there as well. Want to send them the best of luck and hope that they can continue to prove British excellence on an international stage in motorcycle racing. Of course, big weekend of motorsport. As I said, there's Formula One on a bit, but don't know why you want to watch that. We're here at FAB-Racing. IndyCar's on a little bit later tonight as well. If you want to listen along to that in the UK, the only place to do so on Motorsport Radio. and recently had the Indy 500 as well, and that was a fantastic event, and we were very, very proud. Full season coverage of the IndyCar series live on Motorsport Radio, if you ever want to listen along to that on a Sunday evening. Marshall's making their way back round now. Still no updates from race control over what's going on yet, so hopefully it won't be too long. Still no overall winner in race controls. Still no overall winner in this Marshall race, as well as they're heading round on their little track walk. But we'll have to wait and see how it is all going to unfold over the rest of today's racing. Again, a lot of the riders just sitting around waiting to see how it is going to be. Of course, if you want to get in touch, let us know what your thoughts are. Let us know who you're going to win. Let us know who you think your rookie rider of the round is for as well. Just a reminder, the red flag delay after the lunch break, there has just been an unexpected delay, unfortunately, and we're just going to have to keep you posted with information as soon as we have it here in the commentary box. Myself, Ross McIntyre, Zach Sweeney alongside me. There is Jensen Ansell. He was just out on track at the moment, having a look, heading back now into the paddock area. Very, very big paddock here. Yeah, just waiting to see what's going on. I don't quite think, if you cast your mind back to last year's Axel, we're quite at the stage of that is a cone yet. But there's not a lot going on right now, unfortunately, here at Ellough Park.
What a time it is to be alive, Ross McIntyre. Good memes from 2024, let's put it that way. We got up to some, I don't want to say delirium under red flags, but yes, we definitely had some David Attenborough moments. Of course, there you can maybe see a couple of the very exotic Suffolk wildlife flying around in the form of pigeons, of course, making their way around the circuit. What I'm normally used to on the east coast of Norfolk is seagulls. They are the pests. They are the ones that are annoying. Of course, we don't have any pests in the FAB-Racing paddock. We've got a lovely atmosphere, fantastic camaraderie and brotherhood. You saw there, and a lot of the highlights. They'd be going racing wheel to wheel for 10 laps, sort of 14 minutes worth of racing. They'd finish, they'd breathe, they'd give each other a fist bump, and they'd be happy days. I mean, a lot of these riders, while they're fierce rivals on track, they're good friends off.
Absolutely. I mean, as with all racing, tensions can sometimes flare when you're out there going wheel to wheel. As there we see some of the riders. We've reached that level apparently in the paddock, getting some fitness in, getting some squats. Good form there, sir. It must be added. Not quite sure the rest of the crew agrees, but now waving to our camera operator there. Clearly very excited to be on TV or something along those lines.
Don't waste your moment.
Yeah, don't waste it. It's not every day you get to appear on TV, I suppose. But yeah, at least trying to quell the boredom. Again, as you said earlier, Zach, these riders, they're used to being out there on track, going wheel to wheel, approaching ridiculous speeds, and suddenly you're kind of sat around not really doing much. It can quickly get to you, and not the easiest thing to do in the world, unfortunately. Let's just run through what we're scheduled to have across the rest of the day while we're still waiting in this delay. Up next will be race number 2 for the Mini GP50s, brought to you by King's Two Wheel Centre, and then we'll have Moto Team race number 2, and we have those I can't remember the official name they called it, but the semi-ashes thing they're doing between South Africa and the UK. That little championship they're running themselves should be really interesting. I will just spoil the result for you now. After race number 1, the UK leads South Africa by 3 points, 29-26, and also can tell you Marco Pandolfo has been declared as a British rider for this weekend, so the Sicilian will be racing for the Union flag here. After that one, we've got the Extreme 200s, brought to you by Amphibian Scaffolding. Then it will be the Mini GP50 R race. That's the final race number 2. Then it's all of the race number 3s to look forward to. Just been told in our ear from race control, we are aiming to get started in 12 minutes time, and the rest of the day all of the races will be running on a reduced lap count, so hopefully it'll only be 1 or 2 laps down on each race. But the main thing is, Zach Sweeney, we're going to go racing in not too long.
Yeah, exactly. So go get yourself a cup of tea, go get yourself some snacks, because you are going to be glued to whatever seating device that you are at the moment planted on. So, yes, 12 minutes and then we'll be back racing once more. And like Ross was running through, we've got plenty of racing still to go through. The Marshals getting their fair share of airtime there. Of course, they all work very, very hard in order to bring the racing to us each week. And yeah, very much looking forward to the rest of the day here for round number 2 of the 2025 MasterMac FAB-Racing British Minibike Championship. Of course, the road to MotoGP. Plenty of young riders have already made the steps that they need to work towards World Championship level racing. Of course, Scott Ogden up in Moto 3 scored a couple of points, I think, over the course of 2024 and might continue to do so into the 2025 season. There you can see a lot of our young riders, some very familiar faces. You can see the likes of Harrison Day, Finley Polhill, I think that's Marco Halt celebrating as well. Also, Emilio Pereira's brother Gina there, Henry in there as well. So yeah, a lot of familiar names, and it's good that you sort of start to recognise these faces, these names, and people at home can start to associate with them and sort of allow them to build that following that they're definitely going to need as they go up the ranks.
I mean, absolutely. We like to say that they're the stars of tomorrow today, and we really get to see, the future kind of champions tomorrow, be it MotoGP, BSB, World Superbikes. They're all coming through here at FAB-Racing. This is the place to be if you're a young British or even an international rider who happens to inhabit these fair isles, who wants to go out there and start a career start a career in bike racing. And of course, we've had riders go to BSB, go to MotoGP, go to World Superbikes. As we see there, the Marshals starting to promote their own track here.
Ellough Park.
I think they might like Ellough Park. We hope so, because they work here. Just had another confirmation in our ear quickly before I carry on rambling. Again, all the races are scheduled to run with reduced laps over the rest of the day, but also we've also been told that there will be a sighting lap before each race. And also, breaking news from race control, it has now been decided that if a rider comes off, if a rider falls, they are not allowed to rejoin the race. That's something we're used to seeing at somewhere like Three Sisters, where that is a hard-baked rule into that circuit. Here at Ellough Park, not something we're normally used to seeing. Most times if they go down, the riders are able to get up. If they're able to rejoin the race, they normally do. That is not the case. If you come off the bike, race is now done for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, definitely adds an extra level of sort of jeopardy and stakes to each of the races, because, I mean, obviously you don't want to fall off full stop, right? Because you're going to lose a lot of time. You could break the bike, it could stall, you might not be able to get it back going again, etc., etc. So you never want to fall, but even though you sometimes do, you can pick it back up, and we've seen even some riders get off to sort of a poor start. They're still able, even if they fall off, to pick it back up and still salvage some sort of points. If that is the case, even if you have one small slip or even get involved in a tussle with another rider, it might not even be your fault, you still can't continue on in the race. So that adds an extra level, like I say, of jeopardy, of stakes that these riders are going to need to deal with, to say the least, over the course of these races. Hopefully, of course, they are going to be all aware of that. But yeah, there you can see Filip Sławiak, of course. He's off doing some pretty big, wonderful things. Obviously graduated from FAB now. Nice to see that he comes back every now and then to shake it up in the extremes.
Absolutely. Currently leading the championship in the RNG British Talent Cup. Took the pole position and a race 1 win, and was on for a podium in race 2 until an unfortunate crash in the weekend at Silverstone last time out. Of course, supporting the Grand Prix that was there that weekend. What a weekend of racing that was for everybody in British motorsport. A fantastic event at the MotoGP. And of course, Filip putting everybody else and showing what he can do in front of a Grand Prix crowd. Of course, Filip started his bike racing career here at FAB back in 2019, and now winning races on a Grand Prix stage. Unbelievable from him, and great to see him back here this weekend as well. Again, just helping show others the craft, and helping do what those before him did for him, and coming back, having a bit of fun, getting a bit of track time, of course, but also just showing the younger riders some of the ropes, showing them some tips and tricks on how to improve as a rider. You can see as well, just to the right hand side of him, the number 58 bike of Marco Halt, a double champion here in FAB Racing years gone by. He's also back this weekend competing in the Extreme 200 class as well. A very disappointing crash in race number 1 for him. He was having a fantastic battle with Wilson Dilks at the time. So lots to look forward to in the amphibian scaffolding Extreme 200 race, or 2 races we've still got to come actually in that class a little bit later on. Just a reminder, if you are just joining us, or just in case you've forgotten, still in a red flag delay. Unfortunately, the red flag has extended over and beyond the lunch period. We're hoping to get racing at 1/4 the hour. That's 2:15 here in the UK. All of the races are still scheduled to be run, so there are 4 race 2s left to go, and then all of our race 3s, they will be all having exciting laps, then they will also be running reduced laps for the rest of the races, and if a rider comes off, they are not allowed to remount their bike. So that's just to remind you. Some of the riders watching along, playing with their big yo-yo thing. Again, I still don't know what it's called.
Too old for that, aren't you?
Yeah, I might have to Google that one. I've got, rent and things to do now, not just, have
at least
childhood innocent fun.
Yes, how dare they? Ross McIntyre, a miserable student, forcing the children to not have fun. Yes, of course, looking forward to getting this race back underway. Of course, like I say, hello and welcome to anyone now just joining us here on the live stream, either, of course, on YouTube or, of course, on Facebook. Make sure to like, subscribe, turn the bell on for notifications as well to make sure you're staying up to date with all things Fab Racing. And if you have missed anything thus far, don't worry. Everything will be available to rewatch over the course of tomorrow and, well, whenever you fancy. We've been seeing actually a lot of people rewatching some of our races. We're world famous now, Ross McIntyre. 1.3 million views on the AC40 rookies of Rowra last year. So great that people are going back, watching and shining some light on these young riders, especially, of course, the likes of Nelly Knuth with a BBC appearance and things like that. So amazing to see that, not only have we got a fantastic YouTube chat with us today, the audience is firmly there.
I mean, I'm just have to start charging for autographs now. I'm beating them away with the stick. I can't even walk down the road without getting harassed. Our producer just stays in his house and doesn't leave. We're that famous, quite frankly. But yeah, no, it's always great to see Fab getting such a phenomenal audience from all around the world as well. And it's really... It's nice knowing that, junior British bike racing has really earned its place on the international map, and that people are ready and excited to watch the next generation of British bike racing superstars rising the ranks and putting themselves on the map before they even get up to things like the British Talent Cup and then move on to other categories, junior superstock, junior GP, whatever they may move on to. So it is absolutely fantastic to see. Hopefully not too long until we're getting racing now, because I can hear some engines starting to be warmed up in the paddock. Of course, no riding allowed in the paddock, so I hope that they're not riding on the bikes, or they will get a 5-place grid penalty immediately if they are caught. But yeah, people starting some preparation, starting to sort things out, and they're starting to get ready to go racing, hopefully.
Yeah, indeed. So very much looking forward to getting this races back underway. Like we say, we'll be back with the Mini GP 50s, brought to you, of course, by King's Two Wheel Centre. A very windy day here at Ellough Park. We've already touched on the importance of wind. Cannot be understated just how sensitive bikes are to wind. Of course, you get sort of that tailwind going into the paddock hairpin. Very, very important, like you were saying a little bit earlier on. What you ideally want maybe is a little bit of a headwind, because it allows you to use your body as more of a wind sail. You can be a little bit later on the brakes. With a tailwind, obviously the riders aren't going to be complaining too much. They're carrying a bit of extra speed. It does mean that braking zone is elongated ever so slightly, which allows you to maybe have a little bit of a look to send the move to the inside. The important bit is getting the exit off the hairpin just before that.
Absolutely, but of course then if you bite off a bit more than you can chew, then suddenly you find yourself running all the way to the edge of the racetrack. It's a game of two halves. You can use the wind to your advantage, or it can really hinder you as well. But of course it's the same for everyone. Everyone's experiencing the same weather conditions, so just more things to think about. And the wind has picked up big time. Once again, you can see the flags just at the top of your picture there. Really, really starting to fly now. Some of the members of the paddock, some of the fans watching along, those with longer hair anyway, starting to flap in the breeze. So yeah, you can just to visually suggest how windy it is here at Ellough Park. But still great to see a bumper crowd forming, even though we have been delayed a little bit for the last hour or so and across the lunch break. Great to see people still trackside, still eager and keen to see some racing, and still desperate and ready to get going. Hopefully it won't be too long until we are ready to go. The original plan was to get going at 2:15. That's in 3 minutes time, so we'll have to wait and see if people start making their way down to the holding area. Just glancing out of the commentary box window, can't quite see anyone there just at the moment. Instead, some of our youngest riders in the Rookies Cup are currently marching around with a cone. On the subject of our Rookies rider, of course, let us know who you think is going to be Rookie Rider of the Weekend. That's a new award that's going to be announced at the end of race number 3. Please do let us know. We're desperate to hear what you think before we announce who that is, and it could be anybody in that category, and they get to walk home with a nice little trophy as well, so not too bad.
Yeah, always good. I love a trophy. It's a nice tangible thing. Obviously championship points are great, but you can't touch them, you can't look at them on your shelf. I mean, you can if you sort of print off the championship standings, but why would you do that? A trophy is a nice, tangible little trinket, a memento, and a physical sign of your hard work and stuff. It's great to see, of course, that these young riders are winning lots and lots of trophies, and yeah, that Rookies Cup, one of them as well, because it's a nice confidence boost as well. I mean, yes, they're on their sort of first step or so of their sort of motorsport journey or bike racing journey, and they're trying to learn the craft as best they can. It's a good confidence booster just to give them that little bit of oomph going into the rest of the season, or of course onwards and upwards onto of course like the AC40 Pros or the Elites, and then eventually into the 50s. Most people do it as a nice linear path. They go rookies, pros, elites. Of course, now we've got the Interclass as well to manage. But Emilio Pereira, P2 in the championship, narrowly, of course. He was 2 corners away from championship victory in 2024. He's gone from the Mini Motos, the AC40 rookie class, straight up into the 50s. And he's been swimming quite well. He's been keeping his head nicely above water, which has been really, really impressive to see from El Toro.
It absolutely has. Again, one of our young riders who's come a long way, as they always do, just constantly improving and improving. Just a little update. We were scheduled to go racing in 1 minute time. The delay has now been extended. Time to go racing to be confirmed. So don't go anywhere. It could happen at a moment's notice, but I know it is. I know it's causing a little bit of frustration in the paddock. I can see a couple of people on the all of the admin for FAB Racing is done through a giant WhatsApp group. That's where a lot of the race control announcements are made, just for ease of information, essentially. And I can see a few people responding to messages, getting a little frustrated, saying they want to go racing, or we're trying to keep tyres warm here. Can we please get racing soon? So a few people getting frustrated, but at the end of the day, it is a delay due to a safety concern, and that is the most important thing, that everybody is safe. So we will keep you posted on absolutely everything as soon as we know what's going on. But unfortunately, the delay has been further extended beyond 2:15, as it now is. Again, if you are watching, let us know how you are finding this weekend's action so far. Let us know who you're supporting. Let us know where you're watching from around the world, and let us know again who you think is going to be the FAB Racing Rookies Cup Rider of the Round. That will be announced at the end of race number 3, and they'll get to go home with a nice little trophy. You can see the marshals that were on track earlier. They're now walking around the paddock. Clearly ran out of racetrack to walk around. May as well go around the other bit. Some of the riders do have helmets on. And again, you can see there, it's the 50s that we're waiting to get going next. And we can see, for example, Mason Frederick's bike there, tyre warmers on. They're all ready to go racing and have been for some time. And Mason is there, helmet on, leathers on, gloves, boots, the whole shebang. He's ready to get out there. A few riders dotted around the paddock. I can see there's one rider in the holding area currently as well. A few of them sat around, helmets off, all relaxed. But a few of them, helmets are on. They're ready to go. It is just a question of when can we get going, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly. And it must be said that no one's waiting around. No one is trying to purposely postpone the racing. That is absolutely not the case. The safety of all of the riders and all the competitors is absolutely paramount. And that's what comes first. Of course, everyone wants to go racing, but making sure everyone is safe and everyone is in a position to be kept safe as well. Of course, the ambulance crew tending to what they need to, keeping certain riders safe right now, but equally they need their attention firmly on the track should they need to be called to response if another crash happens out on circuit as well, because that is the danger of motorsport. It is one of those things, there are risks involved, but the efficiency of all of the staff here at Ellough Park, and of course the staff at FAB Racing, again is top level when it comes to UK motorsport. We couldn't go racing without them. Of course, a lot of them volunteers, some of them of course being paid to be here, but even then their efforts are very, very much appreciated, and like I say, we couldn't go racing without them. There you can see a couple of riders just ready to go racing, stood around, sort of, they look kind of lost, waiting to go. They don't know what to do with themselves. They're racing riders at heart and waiting to go back out on track. That's what they know how to do best. Once they've eaten their lunch, once they've had a little bit of a rest, they're like, well, come on guys, let's get a move on. Unfortunately, that's not quite the case, we do have to wait. But an interesting point got brought up actually on the WhatsApp group chat that we were talking about in regards to parents that are all the way over there in terms of the paddock, keeping the tyres warm when they get to the dummy grid. They don't want to sort of say, okay, yeah, we're going to go racing in 5 minutes, bring the bike over. Then all the tyres cool down. They then say, oh, don't worry, it'll be another 5 minutes, because then they don't have enough time to go back and then come back again. So that tyre sort of temperature thing, it's not something that you would initially give thought to, but it is a big part of how they're going to be able to be successful in this race.
Yeah, it's not often that you talk about the size and shape of an actual paddock affecting things like tyre temperature, but it does here. The paddock here at Ellough Park is really, really long. It's just very straight and very long. It's not somewhere like Lid last time, for example, where there's like a paddock just kind of all around the pit building. It goes off in every single direction, and everyone's kind of a pretty equal distance away from the racetrack. Here at Ellough Park, if you're right down the bottom end of the paddock, it can take you a couple of minutes to actually get to the circuit. And again, if you had to take the tyre warmers off the bike, by the time you get to the dummy grid, and then if you just sat there, those tyres are going to cool off, and then you've got to go back and try and reheat them, get up, back up. You've got to get them back through a heat cycle, which is never going to be nice for them to go through. And if you get back to your awning and then suddenly, oh yeah, well, by the way, we're going racing now, and then you've got to haul it back over, and suddenly you're on frozen cold tyres compared to everyone else. The tyre warmers for the class that using them, they're set at 90 degrees. That's a controlled temperature, 90 degrees Celsius. Of course, they will naturally lose some of that when they're out there racing. They don't quite run that hot, but that's still very, very warm. And I'd rather be out there on tyres that are a little bit under 90 degrees than tyres that are stone dead cold. Because if you go out there on slick tyres that are stone dead cold, you're going to get to a corner, tip it in, and immediately be on the floor. And again, with the recent announcement this afternoon, from now onwards, as soon as we get racing again, if you come off the bike in all classes, you are not allowed to remount.
Yeah, exactly, and that's going to add a little bit of extra pressure on. And you're very right in saying, of course, when it comes to the tyre temperature, of course, it relates to how malleable that rubber is. Of course, on bikes, you tip the bike in, and the rubber itself, the contact patch of the rubber deforms. And of course, if you go into a right-hand corner, all of the entire surface of the tyre is then pulled to the left. You have a very slim contact patch, especially when you lean the bike in. It's almost as if like on a car where you camber the wheels inwards. You have a very, very slim contact patch. That contact patch that you do have, you want to be warmed up and ready to sustain those lateral loads that you're putting into the tyre. And on a day like today, where it's not ridiculously hot, right, it's quite overcast, a little bit chilly, a little bit windy, the track temp isn't ridiculously high. Once you are on track, it's going to be really hard to actually generate the tyre temperature in of itself. Ellough Park, yeah, fair enough, some heavy braking zones, some sweeping sections where you are putting a lot of load into the tyres. If they're already frozen, it's going to be really hard to actually get them up to a working temperature. It's rather to start them too hot, sit in the waiting area for a little bit, and then sustain them at a temperature that is good for them to run at.
Absolutely. Just been told in our ear, maybe not. Okay, we were told we were hopefully possibly having a window to go racing in 5 minutes. That has now been it was a hope more than anything, unfortunately. I would just say the reason that we are delayed, it is due to a medical reason, and the medics are doing a great job. Unfortunately, we've had to bring a second ambulance to the track, which is the main reason why we can't go. The first ambulance crew is busy. Now there is a second ambulance crew at the track, so hopefully everybody is okay, and we'll let you know what's going on as soon as we do. But yeah, of course, the medical team's doing a fantastic job, and of course we couldn't go racing without them. That's why we're not racing, because we currently don't have them, because they're busy right now. So of course we're hoping that everyone's okay and sending our best, and then hopefully we'll be getting racing as soon as we can. But yeah, unfortunately, medical delay. It's a delay that is very much justified, and a delay that we can't avoid. So we're just gonna have to sit around and wait a little bit, and just see if we can just push on and see what we can do in the meantime. But hopefully it won't be too long. Again, we are of course now quite a significant bit behind the schedule, but that is par for the course. Of course, we're going to shorten the rest of the races, try and rattle through it as much as we can. Of course, if you're just joining us, hello and welcome to the coverage of the second round of the MasterMac FAB-Racing Minibike British Championship here at Ellough Park. Of course, just a reminder that we're under a red flag delay and we're still waiting to go green. And of course, just a reminder, the first race back out will be the second race of the Mini GP 50s, and then it'll be out for the Moto team, where they're doing their Ashes, well, in quotation marks, competitions with the British riders and the Sicilian Marco Pandolfo for some reason against the South African riders. Currently it is 29 points to 26 for the UK, so at least we're winning something.
Yeah, that is true. We're doing well, and of course it's been pretty good. And to explain it a little bit better, maybe either of us could, we're going to head down to, of course, when Izzy caught up with Malcolm Stein to explain the beef a little bit better.
This weekend in the Moto team, we have got a friendly competition happening between the South African team and the English team. Joining me now is Malcolm to tell me a little bit more.
well, I wouldn't call it friendly. It's the Briar Ashes, which is a barbecue for the British people. And it's an inter-competition. It doesn't affect the points whatsoever of the actual championship. But we've chosen this venue because we could get enough South Africans here to compete against we call it the British guys. But it's so we call it the Briar Ashes. It's got that little trophy over there. And so it's the top 4 riders, or the top 4 scoring riders for South Africa, and 1 international rider, and then the same thing for the British team. And it'll be over the 3 races. We accumulate the points, and the one that gets the most points win.
Looking forward to watching it over the weekend.
Great.
Joining us now is the number 11, Oscar McAllister. Oscar, great to see you once again as we're heading into the second round of the season. How's things feeling heading into Ellough Park?
It's feeling amazing.
Confidence, I see. No words needed, just going in cool, calm and collected. Is that the aim for the weekend? Just keep confident?
Yeah, just try and keep confidence, build up it and try and get faster each session.
Talk to us a little bit about the track. It's quite tough around here. It's been known to catch riders out before, but I think it's a circuit that everyone really, really enjoys. Is it one that you're a fan of?
I'm not the biggest fan of it, but it's a good track and just a couple hard chicanes and corners. But by the end of the weekend, I'm just hoping to master it.
Of course, you mentioned a couple of hard chicanes. You've got that really slow section coming into the top and that hairpin chicane awkward bit. But on the flip side, it's a great opportunity to make some last-minute moves, make some dive bombs. We're going to be seeing you make any of those?
Yeah, I've already made a couple, but I'm hoping if I can do that in the race and get further where I qualified, that would make me really happy.
Well, let's wait and see. Thanks so much for talking to us, Oscar.
Thank you. Bye.
Now joining us is one of our Metch Kit Mini GP50 art riders, Josh Perkins, joining us. Great to have you here with us once again at Ellough Park. Getting the action shot, getting everything unloaded out the back of the van as we're heading into the weekend. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling quite good. I got a good position in practice, and that's actually with the 50Rs as well in there, so I'm feeling quite good.
That is great to hear. Ellough Park, a track you're clearly enjoying then so far?
Yeah, I enjoy Ellough Park. My favourite track so far is Three Sisters, because it's a fast track and it flows really good.
I mean, I think everyone loves Three Sisters, especially me, because it's about half an hour from my house, which is quite nice. Interestingly enough, obviously, Ellough Park, last year we came here twice, so a lot of riders here, lots of experience behind the handlebars. You know, they were just going round and round and round. Again, it's a local track, a home track to a lot of the riders as well. Is that something you think has an effect on the racing?
Well, to be fair, I wasn't here last year for the last Ellough Park because I broke my collarbone at Rowra on the Mini Motos, so I really couldn't get enough practice into the Mini GP50s.
But still, you're coming here in 2025 and seem quite confident, so you haven't lost out too much.
Well, it's a fast bike, especially the 50R. On the 50R, it pulls away on the straights much faster.
And what is the difference between the 50 and the 50R for anyone at home who maybe doesn't know?
I'm not quite sure, to be fair. That's my dad back.
Well, I can tell you're allowed a bigger carb on it. That's all I know, and it's also open to a Varley's.
Yeah, I know it's got a bigger car, but I don't know what else affects it, to be fair.
I think that's about it. Well, Josh, thank you very much for talking to us. We'll see you out on track this weekend.
Bye.
Harrison Quincy's joining me now in the Pit Bike 140 series. How are you feeling this weekend, Harrison?
A lot excited. Hopefully I do well, but yeah.
And we are at Ellough Park. Is this a track you think favours you, or do you think you might struggle a little bit here?
It is one of my favourites, and I'm doing quite well so far. I just hope I keep doing well.
How's it felt so far in practice and qualifying? Do you feel like you're getting the most out of the bike?
Yeah, bike's feeling good. I'm getting up there at the minute, so just try and keep it.
And how are you feeling after last weekend at Lid?
Last week, yeah, it was really good. Good weekend, yeah.
Brilliant. Good luck this weekend. Henry, going into this weekend at Ellough Park, how are we feeling after Lid?
Yeah, I'm feeling quite well. We went to Lid just expecting to watch, and someone called LRA Moto actually, reached out to me, said, "Do you want to ride the bike?" I was like, why not? I didn't have any leathers, and then Charlie Nesbitt said, "I've got some leathers here, I got some boots." So I ended up putting together all people's gloves and boots and that. I ended up riding. I can't remember where I finished. I just went out and rode, really, if I'm being honest with you. But here, I'm doing quite well. Went out Friday. I haven't rid these type of bikes since November, because last year I raced them fully, and then this year I haven't raced them at all since up to now. But yeah, it's going quite well. Wilson is about a second quicker than anyone. My teammate is really fast, but hopefully I have to try and give it to him in the race.
And how are you finding the bikes feeling for you yourself? Like, are you feeling you're getting back into the groove of things after having a break since November?
Yeah. So the first time we come here, obviously, I felt massive on the bike. I've been riding bigger bikes, so I got on this, I felt huge. There was a few things wrong with it. We had to tweak the suspension and stuff like that, but we've got the setup now and we feel quite good, yeah.
And what are you hoping to gain out of this weekend? Where are you hoping to place?
Obviously, everyone wants to get first. I think I can get first, but I'm just coming here for a bit of fun, have a laugh. But hopefully I can win, yeah.
Brilliant. Enjoy your weekend.
Thank you.
Kickstarting his 2025 campaign a little bit later than most, Max Johnson joins us for his first round of the 2025 MasterMac FAB-Racing Minibike British Championship. Great to have you back with us, Max, and great to see you moving up and onto the Metro kits now as well. How are you feeling?
Yeah, well, it's Saturday, it's qualifying time. It's nice to see someone in some nice faces again and ready for this weekend, yeah.
That is great to hear, and as you said, qualifying time coming up. How are you feeling on the bike?
Well, I'm aiming for a top 10 because it's my first qualifying of the FAB-Racing season, so let's just have fun, really, yeah.
And as you said, obviously you missed out the first round, unfortunately. Those things do happen. Do you think that's going to be a massive disadvantage, or is it just going to be something you're dealing with? You've already said off camera that this year is just going to be a year of having fun and a learning year on the bike, so you're not too fussy if you're maybe a little bit behind compared to everyone else?
Well, this year I'm just aiming to enjoy it, have fun, learn lots of stuff, because there's so much to learn, such as your clutch, your gears, so much to learn on the Metro kit and just have fun, and that's all racing's about, really.
I mean, if you're not having fun, what's the point of turning up? And we know you do like to have your fun. So what is the plan for this week? And then just get consistent top 10s, get in the top 10 with qualifying as well. And as you said, have some fun.
Yeah, have fun, just enjoy it and just improve every session. Just getting that top 10, getting the fighting mix, really.
Well, we hope it's as fun for us to watch as it is for you out on track. Thanks for talking to us. We'll catch you later.
Thank you. And for this year, my friend Owen Jenner sadly passed away, so no matter what I do, I'm going to make him proud this year. Thank you.
The 71 of Bradley Curtis. A little bit of a drama before we get ready to go out today. You can see your chief mechanic, so to speak, in the background, also known as your dad, ripping your gearbox to shreds currently. What's going on there?
Yeah, just the gears aren't engaging and that. It's like just not really working for us. So there's our 50 bike. Hopefully we can get out on that. We're just going to swap the carbs over from the 50 out of the 50. So we can get out on both. So, yeah.
Well, fingers crossed everything gets sorted and everything runs smoothly this weekend. More importantly, though, how are you?
I'm good. I'm a bit nervous because I've not got as much points as some people, because obviously I only finished 1 of 6, so I've not got that much points, but I'm feeling good and happy, so I'm just going to try my best and go out.
I like that champion's mindset. You're already thinking about points, and we're only 1 round down, so you're lining yourself up to be launching a title charge later in the season.
Yeah, I'm just going to try my best. If I don't get top 3, I don't get top 3, but I'm obviously going to try to get top 3, so yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about Ellough Park heading into this weekend, of course. Last time out, maybe not the most fun you've ever had, but this time, are you feeling good?
Yeah, I'm feeling good because it's like my favourite track, but it's changed a bit. Like, they've put some more tarmac in, like it's not as bumpy, but then the patches that they've put in is a bit bumpier. But I'm good on the brakes and some corners, so I'm just going to try and do that. So, yeah.
It's just kind of dazzle everyone with your amazing pace and amazing braking skills and win all the races and go home a happy boy. Is that the plan?
I try my best. I just want to have fun. So, yeah.
That's the main thing. Thanks so much for talking to us, Brad.
Thanks. Bye.
Metal filings or something on the inside which is causing the lock up, so just split it, have a good look at it and see what's going on, try and get it back together. I don't think he'll make qualifier on this bike, but certainly try and get him out for race 1.
Seth Bomber Hayward on the number 15, looking forward to the second round of the 2025 season here at Fab Racing. Seth, how's things?
Good so far. It's just my year back from my leg injury last year, but I'm getting back into it so far.
That's great to hear. And let's talk a little bit about that. Of course, I know it's quite hard coming back from injury and, long road to recovery. First of all, it is, great to see you back. I don't think we quite spoke to you last time out, unfortunately, but how's things going with the leg? All feeling okay?
It's feeling okay. I've still got metal rods in it. I'm keep going. Nothing stops me, though.
That is great to hear. And one last question on it quickly. Do you think it does affect you on the bike a little bit, or is it something that you've got over?
No, it clicks a bit, but it doesn't really do it. It doesn't hurt.
That is great to hear. Coming into the second round then of the season, Ellough Park, track you enjoy?
It's a track that I really enjoy. The first track I don't really like.
Oh, no love lost there then for the Lid kart racing circuit, but Ellough Park, clearly a firm favourite, not just you for the Paddock as well. What's the plan then this weekend? Of course, I'm expecting sweep the weekend, win every race, etc.
Top 10, top 5, and do as best as I can.
Brilliant stuff. And then looking forward across the rest of the season as well, is it just about getting those consistent points finishes?
This year I want to be in the top 5 or top 10 this year in the championship, and I'm hoping to be in top 5, hopefully.
Well, hopefully you can achieve that goal. Thanks for talking to us, Seth.
Bye.
Now speaking to, bizarrely enough, another rider who had a leg injury last year. Seemingly everyone at the moment struggling with those ones. Riley Paisley, great to have you back with us. Second overall last time out at Lid, so strong start to the season. How are you feeling moving on to round number 2?
Yeah, quite confident as I'm doing both bikes this round, so more track time and then hopefully more podiums this weekend.
Yeah, let's talk quickly about that. Both bikes you mentioned, obviously we're quite used to seeing you on the Metro kits and all that, but what's the deal? What's happening this weekend with both bikes?
Lid, it got a bit too much for me doing the 50s and then straight out on the 70 after, but now I've got a gap between them so I can do both.
So a little bit of time to rest and relax and at the same time get more track time as well to help you improve and get quicker. That is great to see. How are you finding things out in Ellough Park? How are both of the bikes feeling?
Both bikes are good. Yesterday I struggled a bit for pace, but hopefully today I'll be on it.
Well, fingers crossed, we'll have to wait and see. Again, as we said earlier, really strong opening round at Lid. You were second overall at the end of the weekend. Are you looking to just continue that consistency? Of course, you'll be aiming for race win, obviously, but just looking to keep consistent and keep moving forward?
Yeah, just 3 podiums this weekend and I'll be happy.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. Thanks for talking to us, Riley.
Thank you.
Jensen Brown back with us for another weekend of racing. You got second at Lid, the first round of the season. How are you feeling?
Good.
Are you excited coming into Ellough this weekend?
Yeah.
You've just been out on the track for your practice. How were you feeling after practice?
Good.
Excited for racing this weekend?
Yeah.
Are you hoping to get second or higher again?
Higher.
Higher, you want to be first, yeah? Good luck this weekend, mate.
Thank you.
Jensen back with us here at Ellough Park for round 2 of Fab Racing. How are you feeling this weekend?
Good.
And how are you feeling after Lid?
Not too well.
Why? What happened?
Because I fell off 2 times.
Oh. You all right now, though? All recovered? All ready to go this weekend?
Yeah.
And how are you feeling being at Ellough? It's quite a twisty track. Talk me through it. How do you think it's going to go this weekend?
Good. I don't know. But
do you think it's a circuit you're going to do well at?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because it's like a twisty track and I'm good at them.
So you find it better in the turns than on the straights?
Yeah.
And where are you hoping to place this weekend?
First.
Good luck, have a good weekend.
Thank you. Thank you.
Nelly Newth back with us again here at Fab Racing. A brilliant weekend for you at the first round in Lyd. How are you feeling?
Amazing.
Was it good winning last round?
Yeah.
And how are you feeling being here at Ellough Park?
Good.
How do you find the track's been for you? Because it's quite a twisty track. Are you finding it suiting you okay?
Kind of.
You've been out for practice yet?
Yeah.
How did you feel it was in practice? Did you find it was going okay?
Yeah.
And how are you hoping to do this weekend?
Good.
Wanting to win?
Yeah.
And what are you most looking forward to this weekend?
Winning.
Got a winner's attitude. Good on you. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
On the road to MotoGP and the feeder series to the British Talent Cup and Red Bull Rookies. This is Fab Racing Minibikes British Championship.
Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to round number 2 of the 2025 MasterMac Fab Racing British Mini Bike Championship. After a lengthy delay, we're back and we're ready to get racing with this afternoon's racing action. It's myself, Zach Sweeney. Alongside me in the commentary booth is the biggest Mac himself. It's Ross McIntyre. And well, we're in for an absolute treat. Up next, of course, the Metric Mini GP 50 class, brought to you, of course, by King's 2 Wheel Centre, an electric championship, and looking very much forward to getting bikes back on track.
We are indeed a lengthy delay, but the order has come in from above. Get yourself to the holding area in 5 minutes' time so we can get everybody racing again. Unfortunately, it is going to be shortened races. We are still expecting sighting us beforehand in the race 3s as well. We've been told we're going to try and run all of them, as unfortunately time is now getting a little bit tight on the schedule. We're going to try and run every race 3 as well, but they are going to be properly short. Hopefully there'll be no more delays today, and it means we can just run as smoothly as possible. Who knows what the racing gods have in store for us, quite frankly, but we are now ready to get our next race underway, and that, of course, is race number 2 for the Mini GP 50s, brought to you by King's 2 Wheel Centre.
Yeah, very much looking forward to this one, of course. 2024 brought one of the best championship battles that we've seen in the 50s, and 2025 proves to be no different as well. It is, though, Super Sebastian Gazlowski who is commanding this class thus far. Of course, took a number of success over the course of 2024, a win, 3 podiums and 13 appearances inside the top 5. Kickstarted this season, 3 wins at Lyd, one of course this time yesterday as well. Oh no, it wasn't actually, it was he had a DNF. It's Randy Curtis that was able to take the victory. However, Gazlowski on pole with the pace is going to be looking for redemption.
Yeah, Gazlowski got caught out by some issues yesterday, unfortunately. Lots of issues going up and down the paddock, mechanical reliability problems, but he has definitely been the man to beat so far this season, and is definitely the man on form heading into this second race. Super Seb on the 64. Well, he's come into this weekend, or this season should I say, like a different animal. Last year, yes, there was the pace there, but this year, so much commitment, so much focus, and so much dedication. I'm really excited to see what he can do, and to see if he can take a race win here in race number 2 in the Mini GP 50s, brought to you by King's 2 Wheel Centre. Now it is time to get racing after a long old delay with race 2 of the Mini GP 50s, brought to you by King's 2 Wheel Centre. And man oh man, this should be a very exciting affair. Of course, it was Bradley Curtis who took the victory on the number 71 yesterday, and took it in fine fashion by over 4.5 seconds ahead of Rex Austin. Mason Frederick rounding out the podium places as well. A few big names though, DNFs and it was a big old grid of riders as well. 21 taking to the track yesterday in race number 1. We're expecting the same today for race 2 and 3. Should be fascinating to see how these battles unfold.
Yeah, really looking forward to it. Of course, like we say, over the course of the morning, there's been some really good racing, really brave moves being made. And of course, these young riders in the 50s, they are no strangers to going for some almighty sends. So look out for some good moves. Of course, the wind picking up, it's blowing all the paper in the commentary box here, there and everywhere. And I'm sure it's going to be making the bikes out on track that little bit sensitive as well. Of course, with the race 2s, everything running as normal. However, there will be a sighting lap just to allow the riders to bed themselves back in after, of course, the lunch and, of course, the delay to go with it as well. And then, of course, into race 3s, everything will be shortened down just a little bit. But for what we can tell, of course, race 2 will be run as normal, which means we get the full amount to enjoy as the riders take to the track.
Absolutely. 21 Mini GP riders make their way out onto the racetrack and getting ready to find their grid slots before they head round for the sighting lap. Just everyone slowly crawling their way out of the holding area. Problems potentially for some of the riders, but no, all looks like they're clean and ready to go. And well, you can tell everyone's really excited for this one. Again, a long old delay, a red flag that extended well over the lunch break, but finally it is time to kickstart things here after about 2 hours of waiting here at Ellough Park to continue Sunday's action at the second round of the MasterMac FAB-Racing Mini Bike British Championship. Just the last couple of riders, it looked like Tommy Keats was having a couple of issues getting out of the dummy grid, but looks to be everything is A-OK now. Was able to restart the bike and find his place down there on the grid. So it's going to be one sighting lap and then it'll be eyes to the light. So let's run through the grid as the riders make their way round one singular time. Sebastian Gazlowski will start from pole position alongside Bradley Curtis. Rex Austin in P3 with Mason Fedrick in 4th. Tommy Keats and Josh Perkins form the 3rd row with Jensen Ansel in P7. Emilio Pereira goes off of P8. Riley Paisley starts 9th with Nicholas Dunwoody in 10th place. Caelan Ratcliffe is 11th, Preston Baker alongside. Row 7 is Daisy Polden and Kai Hawken with Dylan Tureen in 15th and Bo Morris in P16. 17th is Seth Hayward with Max Johnson in P18. Bojan Blajewski is 19th with Callum Maxwell in P20. And Oliver Wilson, our 21st and final rider on the grid. Should be a very interesting race, Zach. And of course, you know, it's been a little bit of a while since anyone's turned a wheel and anger around here. Long old delay. We're very much excited to get things going again.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, these riders are going to be excited as ever to get things back underway. Of course, the track is going to be cooled down quite a bit, actually, because nothing's been going around it for a while. And of course, the wind and the overcast has cooled everything down a little bit. Going back to what we were saying a bit earlier on in regards to the tyre temperatures, tyre pressures, all those sorts of things going to be paramount in order to get these bikes underway. And of course, as has been the case all day long in terms of getting that good race start towards turn number 1, these riders need to be absolutely on it. Final preparations being made towards the back end of the field, but Gazlowski from Curtis, 2 big rivals in this championship for the overall title.
Absolutely. It is time to get racing after a long old wait this afternoon. The Mini GP 50s is go. Looked like there may have been a jump start there for the 991 of Rex Austin, but we're going to keep pushing onwards anyways. They slide down into turn number 1. Looks like holding on to the lead will be Sebastian Gazlowski. Curtis holds on to 2nd place as well as they slide their way down into turn 2 and then make their way through the infield. All clean at the moment. Gazlowski already opening a little bit of a gap. Tommy Keats up to 4th place. Whoa. That's a strong start for him as there is 2 riders down there. 3 now as they all pile in. Will there be another potentially? That's Jensen Ansel that's definitely gone
Preston
down.
Baker
Looks
down
like, yeah, Preston Baker, Caelan Ratcliffe as well. 3 riders down on lap number 1 here in race number 2, but nothing they could have done. One goes down and they all just piled in afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. Track is cold. Riders themselves are going to be quite cold in terms of getting themselves up to speed. Of course, we've been told that they can't rejoin. It seems the marshals are doing their best in order to do that. Lap 1 in the books is Gazlowski that leads from Curtis. Rex Austin, our reigning AC40 Pro champion, making the step up into the 50s and running now very nicely indeed in 3rd place. Riley Paisley, or in fact I think it's Tommy Keats now in 4th place, running really wide on the exit of turn number 1 as well, using all of the track's space available. This race getting itself nicely underway.
Of course, yellow flags in this section, no overtaking allowed until you get to the next marshal post where the green flag will be showing. Bradley Curtis holding on to that P2 for the time being from Rex Austin, who was very fast on. I actually thought he may have jumped the start initially, but it looks like he was all okay, heard nothing from race control, and he's now really putting the pressure on the 71 in front and looking to the inside into Paddock Bend, but runs very, very deep. That will allow Curtis the switch back, but somehow Rex Austin manages to hold on. A great move there up into second. Oh, and that's why. A problem for the 71 once again. Bradley Curtis having mechanical issues. Looks like he's been able to get going again. We've also been told that the start's now under investigation by race control, so maybe Rex Austin isn't in the clear. Who knows what's going to happen? Apparently there may have been a jump start a little bit further back in the pack as well. I've been told Rex Austin looks like he's all in the clear, was just a perfect getaway.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes it is just too good. You are that talented. You're getting accusations of jump starting. That's the type of start you want. You want to be so good that they think you're cheating. Mason Frederick on the back of Tommy Keats. Of course, Mason Frederick, one of the top riders, of course, over the pro class. He did do a couple of outings on the 50 last year, but I don't quite think was ready for it. But he's made the step up. He is more than ready now, running inside the top 5. Now, of course, promoted into a chance for a podium with, with Curtis's DNF. With, of course, I assume it will be probably gearbox problems. There they can also see Rex Austin right in front of him. That's the dilemma. Does Frederick battle or do they chase?
Have to wait and see. The smart rider, you'd probably go, let's hunt him down, attack together, but when you're out on the racetrack, your brain doesn't always think exactly straight. You just see someone in front and you think target. You got to feel for Bradley Curtis, it must be said. He's been really struggling with that gearbox all weekend. Looks like it's come a cropper once again. 7 laps left to go in this one, then. There is Riley Paisley. He's currently running P5, holding off Nicholas Dunwoody just behind. Again, 3, now 4 riders, in fact, out of this race. Those are Preston Baker, Caleb Ratcliffe, and Jensen Ansel in that crash on lap number 1. And now Bradley Curtis down and out of the race as well. This battle continues to rage on, though, for P5. Kai Hawken now looking like, or Josh Perkins, should I say, now looking like he's getting involved. What's happened to Kai Hawken then? He was also involved in this battle a moment ago, but looks like he's vanished somewhere off the face of the earth at the moment. So problems there potentially for the number 20 rider as well, as they start their next lap. 6 to go, 3 abreast as they come down into turn number 2. No one makes a move, though, but that was really, really close. And all up the inside. Josh Perkins, that's brave, that is brilliant. Might get 2 in 2 corners as well. No, not quite. Riley Paisley holds on there. That was a wonderful move, though. Just sensed the smallest of opportunities and snatched it.
Yeah, he's looking very perky as Josh Perkins, just trying to find his way through. And, well, with just 5.5 laps left to go, he's just trying to find those gaps. And that's that lack of hesitation that you need. As soon as you think twice about it, you can't half-heartedly go for moves. That's when mistakes are made. He saw the gap, he executed, and he saw an opportunity to maybe go for another position. Defensive ever so slightly, you could see there. Riley Paisley ever so slightly offsided on his racing line. That could allow Perkins to set up a move. Mason Frederick with a good drive off turn number 1. Looks to the inside of turn 2, but not quite on the brakes for long enough. It's almost one of those corners where you don't brake hard, you brake long. You hold it tinily all throughout the entirety of the corner just to balance the bike through. It's not an opportunity realistically for you to absolutely launch and move up the inside. However, Frederick definitely looks like the quicker rider of the 2. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when he makes the move.
Just needs to try and find that gap, needs to try and find an opportunity, or maybe time to get the elbows out, try and barge his way through the number 8 machine in front and onto the podium. 5 laps left to run in this one. Surely going to be 4 in just a brief moment's time, and indeed it will be, as Gazlowski crosses the line in the lead of the race. He has a 5.5 second gap now to Rex Austin in P2, who himself has 2 seconds back to the pair here that we see. Tommy Keats leading Mason Frederick in P3 and P4 as it stands. But will they stay there? Will they move forward? Or will they continue to battle? Looks like Josh Perkins managed to get through, well, managed to break away from Riley Paisley, should I say, riding superbly out there with some brave overtakes in this race is the number 30, and Paisley now under huge pressure from Nicholas Dunwoody behind. The 35 machine draws alongside on the corner exit, gets the drive out of the infield hairpin and does make that P6. Nice Nice little move there from Nicholas Dunwoody, and now he'll try and streak away into the distance as well. Looks like Josh Perkins struggling a little bit for pace at the moment and could be under more pressure from Kai Hawken and Emilio Pereira behind.
Yeah, exactly. So 3 laps left to go, of course, 2 at the line. There is quite a feisty battle. Mason Frederick versus Tommy Keys. This is the fight for the podium. Battle for the lead. Sebastian Gazlowski has disappeared. 6 seconds now clear of Rex Austin in second place. He is on a dominant charge. 2.5 laps left to go. Not quite an opportunity for Mason Frederick on this particular occasion, but just getting the power down a bit more effectively off that hairpin. Not on the brakes going through the sweeping section. The gap slightly opens up. He's thinking about it, I know he is, but there's a voice in the back of his brain that says, wait for an opportunity like this, straight up the inside of the chicane. Nicely done. Didn't go with haste, waited for an opportunity, waited for the gap, and executed onto the podium.
That was a difficult move, but Mason Frederick made it look effortless. Wonderful stuff to get through. Bit of lap traffic up ahead. That's the 1-1-1 of Callum Maxwell that they're going to have to make their way through. Frederick will go to the inside, but Maxwell chops him off. Oh, my goodness me. Again, no blue flags here. Nothing to stop traffic from just taking their regular lines. You have to get through them on your own accord. That nearly ended in disaster there for Mason Frederick, but number 5 was about his senses, managed to back off and ultimately didn't lose too much time to Keats behind. Now we have to see if Frederick has what it takes to catch up to the back of Rex Austin in P2, but with 2 laps, soon to be 1 lap left to go, I think the number 5 may have run out of race.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that while yes, we appreciate his patience, and he'll definitely appreciate his patience in not having it off, part of him will be wishing, I should have got that move done sooner. It would have given him the time to try and chase after Rex Austin. The gap only 1.7, and Mason Frederick has been the quicker rider. He's just going to run out of time in this race. One rider that has just had anything to go his way in this race has been Sebastian Gazlowski. He has been on form here at Ellough Park. And of course, after the DNF yesterday, he shrugged that off. Pole position, half a lap left to go to take the victory.
It just looks so effortless when there's someone out there just absolutely in the zone, riding inch perfect on the racetrack. Gazlowski with a handful of corners to go. And man, just look at it. He can cruise on home now. The gap at the line last time, 7.1 seconds. That is an absolute lifetime in FAB Racing terms. And as he rounds the penultimate corner now, he will feel the plaudits and he will reward himself with a celebration for winning race number 2 in the Mini GP50s, brought to you by King's Two Wheel Centre. That is one of the finest rides you will ever see from Super Sebastian Gazlowski. Takes victory by 7.5 seconds ahead of Rex Austin in P2, with Mason Frederick rounding out the podium places. Tommy Keats holds on to 4th place, with Josh Perkins finishing 5th. Nicholas Dunwoody was 6th, with Emilio Pereira getting past Riley Paisley for 7th place, and he ended up finishing in P7 there with Riley Paisley 8th. Kai Hawken was 9th. Daisy Poldham rounding out our top 10. And, well, there we do see our race winner, Sebastian Gazlowski. What a performance from him. He'll be absolutely delighted, giving someone a lift back to the paddock as well. Great sportsmanship, as always, on display here.
Yeah, it's fantastic to see. And again, goes back to that camaraderie and that friendship that we saw. Hopefully we won't be going too quickly, because it's one thing to ride the bike. As soon as you're a passenger, things start to feel a little bit quicker, especially when you're holding on to the shoulders. But Gazlowski, he's everything that you need in a rider. Speed, of course, is one of them, and he demonstrated that in full force here today. Of course, these guys will be back up for race 3 a little bit later on. Is it even going to be a race? I mean, Bradley Curtis, hopefully he gets his issue sorted, presumably with the gearbox that he's been struggling with sort of all weekend long. At the moment, though, there is no one that can match Gazlowski. Rex Austin just 7.5 seconds back.
Race number 2 for the Moto team awaits us, and it is hotting up in this in-house Ashes tournament. It is currently the UK that leads South Africa by 3 points, 29 to 26, and part of that is potentially down to the fact that we've adopted a Sicilian. Marco Pandolfo on the Team Acme Racing number 8 bike is racing for the Union flag in this little tournament that the guys have organised for themselves, but on the other side of things, the South Africans also get to adopt the top British rider in the race, as there's only 3 of them out there on the grid, and it's only the top 4 from each nationality that score points. Again, this is all the brainchild of Malcolm Steyn by the sounds of things. And yes, it is a bit much to wrap your head around, but it is really, really interesting to see how this Ashes tournament's going to unfold. The Moto team guys getting ready to head out there in a short moment's time. It should be fascinating to watch. Let's see if South Africa can take the lead heading into race number 3, or if the UK can extend their advantage.
Yeah, we'll see. Of course, they're about to head themselves out on to track and then go for the formation lap. Some confusion being made. I think that is Steyn himself actually having a problem. Oh no, not looking good already for South Africa in this little beef quarrel. What have they got going on with the UK? Friendly competition, let's put it that way, between each of the 2 nations. Although it's not just 2 nations, it's sort of a coalition of sorts. The coalition, there's some nice niche to it that we could probably make. But they're making their way to the grid now. Of course, then we'll run you through the starting grid order for race number 2 of Moto Team. Of course, the interesting thing here when it comes to the championship as a whole, it's not the rider that scores points, it's the bike. One of the cheapest forms of motorsport in the UK.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Cheap and cheerful, possibly the wrong term to use, because yes, it is cheap, but it is absolutely brilliant racing with some brilliant people on there as well. Looks like whoever was having those issues in the holding area able to get going in the end. That looks like that was Jacques Van Eden. No, it wasn't Jacques Van Eden, it was in fact Malcolm Steyn, I believe, going off a P10. Should we run through the grid?
Yeah, we should do indeed. It'll be Team Acme Racing then on the number 8 machine that will lead from pole position. Joshua French then will join him on row number 1 ahead of Harrison O'Keefe and Phil Joyce, row number 2. Ben O'Keefe from Jacques Van Eden in 6th, ahead of George Knights, Paul Kelly and Linton de Moloya in 9th place. Malcolm Steyn then, after issues going to the grid, will start from 10th place ahead of Rhys Gentry, Rob Huntley and Gary O'Keefe, making up the rear end of the field with a mission in mind.
Yeah, Gary O'Keefe, he may not be scoring points for the UK, he might be a bit too far down the order, but he knows he can hold up the South Africans when they're coming around to lap him. The O'Keefes are taking this, I think, far more seriously than anybody actually anticipated anyone could, but good on them for getting out there and giving it a go. Of course, cast your mind back to this time a year ago, Ben O'Keefe crashing out from the race win on the very final corner. Man, oh man, that was interesting, wasn't it? But yeah, lots of interesting things happening in Moto Team this weekend. It's not just this mini Ashes tournament they're running. Linton de Moloya on a Suzuki this weekend. He's switched over from his normal Honda motor. Again, it's as long as he's running it for the same team with the same number on the plate, then it's all fine. It's all right to get the same points, but he seems to be running okay with it, seems to be enjoying it. Of course, though, Marco Pandolfo, must be said, he looks comfortable up the front. And don't forget as well, it's Moto Team. We've got 2 classes to keep an eye on as well. Let's go racing. Race number 2 is underway. Good launch there by Jacques Van Eden. Looks like Joshua French picked up the front of the bike down into turn 1, but will somehow sneak up the inside and get the lead. Not sure how he's got away with that one. How does Marco Pandolfo respond? Immediately fights back, but looks like French just slams the door shut and sweeps across the front of him. So Joshua French takes the overall lead. It must be said, though, first and second place on the road currently, 2 different classes. That's open for Marco Pandolfo on the 8. Joshua French is in standard, so just racing for overall position currently.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, 2 different classes. The open with less restrictions, the standard with a little bit more. So there are 2 races going on here. Of course, we'll do our best to keep you updated with all what is going on throughout the rest of this race. 10 laps, of course, in total. They're making their way through the first off that. When they break the beam, it'll be 9 to go. It's at the moment Team Acme Racing leading the way in the open. Joshua French, though, leading it overall. Harrison O'Keefe, a little bit of a wheelie at the start on the 65 machine, getting off to a tentative start. Moves being made further back as well as they make their way through the first lap in the books. It's French from Acme, Jacques Van Eden there completing the top 3, and second place in the open from Harrison O'Keefe and Phil Joyce, the overall top 5.
Right now, looks like the UK set to extend their lead in this Ashes tournament. Obviously, we're not going to take sides here, but this is the MasterMac FAB-Racing Minibike British Championship. Let's just leave it at that one, shall we? It's all fun and games at the end of the day. There is Jacques Van Eden. Little bit of a train forming behind him with Harrison O'Keefe and Phil Joyce all over the back of him. They are in the standard class, though. Van Eden, 3rd place overall, 2nd in the open class. His fight is with the man who's a little bit up the road and currently fighting for the overall lead. Team Acme Racing, the number 8 of Marco Pandolfo, leading the way in the open class currently and riding really on form. Joshua French, though, holding on to that overall lead right now. Little check back again. These guys, they don't need to race each other at all. If one finishes in front of the other, it does not matter. They're in different classes. They're both leading their respective races. But when you get out there on the track, you get on the bike, your visor goes down, you don't really think about those things. You just see someone in front of you, and especially when you're at the front of the pack and you want to overtake them, you want to cross the finish line first.
Yeah, exactly. Whether or not you're winning in your class, and fair enough. I mean, a lot of these guys are out there to win championships. A lot of these guys, again, they go to work Monday to Friday, whatever. They're here for a bit of fun. They want to have a race, even if they're dominating in their respective class. They see bike, they try to overtake said bike. 7.5 laps left to go. There you can see the orange 65. That's Harrison O'Keefe on the back then, trying to work his way through on that yellow machine just in front of him there, trying to get past. That's Jack Van Eden just in front of him. Of course, we saw some pretty good results actually from Jack Van Eden over last year here at Ellough Park. Did a fantastic job is to take the fight to the front in what was the open class. Still doing so, of course. Able to take all but one victory last year. It was Malcolm Stein that took the other one. So happy hunting ground for those two riders.
Yeah, it looks like Harrison O'Keefe having some issues out there on the 65 bike. He's dropped back big time. He's actually dropped back behind Ben. So what has happened to Harrison out there? Hopefully everything is A-OK. He was running up in third place for a little bit, and was right behind Jack Van Eden and in the mix with Phil Joyce fighting for second place in standard class. He's now fourth in that category, just behind Ben on the 64 as well. So problems there. Here we see Linton Dimiola getting overtaken by Malcolm Stein. Oh, getting very, very close for comfort as they head down to the bottom end of the racetrack. Dimiola and George Knights on the number 23. That is for position. Malcolm Stein, that's just for overall places. He's in the open class compared to the other two on the standard. We're getting very, very racy, getting the elbows out a little bit. These guys trying to have some fun while they can. But also, Malcolm Stein, Linton Dimiola, they've got some points to win back for South Africa, so they need to push onwards and upwards together. Work as one team rather than as individual moto teams. There's Jack Van Eden holding up. Looks like Ben O'Keefe's managed to get through Phil Joyce on the 119, and indeed he has. So it's actually Harrison O'Keefe who slid back through. So Harrison O'Keefe, he dropped down to 6th overall, now back up into 4th overall. So having a bit of a crazy race right now.
Yeah, indeed. So it's been quite a good battle here in Moto Team. Of course, the two different classes, and of course the interesting dynamic that comes with this class always opens the door for some interesting opportunities with the racing. Harrison O'Keefe then trying to find a way through, but to no avail this time by just yet. 5 laps left to go. 4, of course, at the line. Is Team FAB-Racing the leads from Joshua French overall. Of course, both of those in 2 separate classes, but the fight for the overall lead still one that they're going to be wanting to go for indeed. Of course, at the moment, Jack Van Eden leading Harrison O'Keefe in this little quartet train that we've got, although slightly broken up. There goes the look from Ben O'Keefe on the 64 machine. Nicely done to the inside of turn number 2 on the 119. That's, of course, Phil Joyce. So not too big of a battle going on there between the two riders representing the UK. Don't want to be taking too many points away from each other. Want to focus on the real enemy and to score as many points as they possibly can. Now 4.5 laps left to go. Let's see if Harrison O'Keefe can find a way through here on Jack Van Eden.
Right now, just not quite yet. Jack Van Eden doing a fantastic job to hold off those behind, but here comes up the inside. Oh, and he's gone down. Gave it too much on the front of it bit, and down he goes into Paddock Bend. Oh, that is heartbreaking for O'Keefe. And of course, that means he won't be allowed to rejoin the race. Either the front handlebars look bent, all out of shape as it anyway. And you can see trying to fix the bike, see if he can do anything, but that thing looks like it is toast. Race number 2 done and dusted there for the number 65 of Harrison O'Keefe. A real shame. He was running super, super well, but that's how it goes. Takes the pressure off the back of Jack Van Eden, though, it must be said. He can now just get on, not have to worry about the O'Keefe behind, maybe just worry about the O'Keefe in front.
Yeah, exactly. One less to worry about. A look there from the 41. That's Linton Dimiola trying to find a way through on the 11 of Malcolm Stein. And of course, just in behind them as well, the 23 of George Knights trying to get involved in this battle. 2.5 laps left to go. So not long left at all. And a shame, of course, for Harrison O'Keefe, and a big hit actually for the UK in the Moto Team Ashes Championship here at Ellough Park. Let's hope, of course, for them that it's not going to be too costly in bringing home the trophy, because the South Africans will be looking at that, laughing and loving the fact that Harrison O'Keefe came off.
Yeah, they'll be enjoying that. To be fair, knowing Harrison, he's probably got a smile on his face anyway. He always likes a bit of chaos as do all of the O'Keeffes. Very popular members of the paddock, and incredibly funny if you ever get the chance to speak to them. And even when things don't go their way, always got a smile on their face. But yeah, a real shame for Team UK. Advantage is Team South Africa in this one. 2 laps left to go as Marco Pandolfo crosses the line. There is Gary O'Keeffe. Now, Marco from Sicily is on Team UK this weekend. He's been claimed as an international contestant, so don't think Gary O'Keeffe's going to give him too much grief. In fact, it's a little while till we see a South African, and Gary O'Keeffe said that is his mission objective this weekend, is when he gets lapped, if it's a South African behind them, he is going to hold them up with every last fibre of his being.
Defend like a lion. Negotiating the traffic really well, actually, is the number 8, carving his way through the traffic. A lap and a half left to go to negotiate to take not only the open win, but also the overall to go with it, and scoring some fantastic points for Team UK in the Motor Team Ashes. But yeah, Gary O'Keeffe, it's personal for him. He's taking this very seriously. At the moment, there you can see best lap time coming in 53.135, best of anyone out there on track at the moment by some margin, 0.3 over Joshua French, the next quickest rider out on track. One more tour of Ellough Park to go for Team Acme Racing to bring home some very solid points here in Motor Team.
Yeah, it's been a great weekend for Marco Pandolfo. He had a fantastic weekend back in Lid, it must be said. 3 second places, of course, Will Halt on the number 96 bike. Anytime that thing opens or turns up, you can just basically give out the awards for the open class anyway. So we'll have to wait and see as he comes round. What a performance it has been to make it 2 from 2 with a couple of corners left to go. Marco Pandolfo, his 2025 has been fantastic so far, and it is just going to get even sweeter as Joshua French has gone down and out of the race on the very final lap. Unbelievable. The 116, who was leading in the standard class, has gone down and is out of the race. It will be Marco Pandolfo who takes victory in race number 2 of the Moto Team overall and for the open class. That means if Joshua French is down, it could be, surely it's got to be. I'm just waiting to see where he is. It is! It's redemption for Ben O'Keeffe, surely! No, that was Gary that was crossing the line. Hold on, he's coming up a little bit. But it's going to be redemption for Ben O'Keeffe a year after he crashed out of the lead on the final corner. This time, Ben O'Keeffe takes a standard class win. Oh, unbelievable. That is, well, some late drama here. Joshua French, your heart goes out to him, but Ben O'Keeffe takes victory in the standard class a year after he threw it away. Man, oh man, that was very special indeed. What a performance from him. Ben O'Keeffe takes the win in the standard class. Team Acme Racing, Marco Pandolfo take the win in the open class. I think that's advantage UK in the Ashes as well.
Well, we assume so. Let's find out when we can have confirmation. It seems, though, the UK didn't do a bad job, to say the least. Of course, we'll run you through the full results in a few moments' time, of course. But yeah, Moto Team, as always, providing us some drama, some action, and some excitement. Let's run you through the results. It was Team Acme Racing and Team UK taking the victory in Moto Team. Ben O'Keeffe winning the standard class as well with P2 overall. Jacques Van Eden across the line, P3 overall, and P2 in the open class. Phil Joyce in second from Linton de Miola, a podium place in Moto Team standard. Then comes George Nice, Malcolm Stein, then comes Paul Kelly, Rob Huntley. Joshua French still classified in P9 as things stand, but it will be Gary O'Keeffe classified as the final finishing rider, with Joshua French and Harrison O'Keeffe are 2 DNFs for race 2 of Moto Team. Of course, hopefully we'll see these guys a little bit later on for race number 3 of round number 2 of the 2025 MasterMac FAB-Racing British Minibike Championship here at Ellough Park. It's been quite good for Moto Team, and of course the extra stakes, the extra jeopardy, the extra prize on offer for these guys has definitely added some excitement.
Coming up then, race number 2 in the amphibian scaffolding Extreme 200. And we were robbed of a brilliant barnstormer to end race number 1 yesterday. Marco Halt unfortunately crashing out midway through the race after a titanic battle with Wilson Dilks. They start on the front row of the grid, but it must be said, there is still opportunity for that to happen again, and a huge grid of fantastically talented riders, of course, many returning, the likes of Halt, Wilson Dilks, Filip Sorowiak as well, RNG British Talent Cup Championship leader. Also got Jamie King and Chris Wells out there this weekend in the Extreme 200s on the factory RLRA bikes. So it'll be interesting to see how they do. It wasn't a very strong showing in race number 1, unfortunately, but still be interesting to see how they do in race number 2.
Yeah, it will be indeed. Of course, Jamie King and Chris Wells, 2 champions in the Pit Bike 140 class. The Extreme 200s, of course, take to their sighting lap. We'll run you through the grid. It'll be Wilson Dilks, the reigning champion of the 70s and Extreme 200s, lining up on pole position. Marco Holt alongside him ahead of Henry McCartney and Harrison Day in 4th. Finney Polhill from Travis Shaw, Taylor Tomlinson and Harry Payne, the top 4 rows. Logan Cousins, Filip Sorowiak, championship leader in the RNG British Talent Cup, lines up 10th. Leo Sawoliu and Harry Barrell in 12th. Chris Wells, Jamie King share the 7th row for Taylor Davies and Rory Jones in 16th. And final place for the second race of the Extreme 200 class here for the MasterMac FAB-Racing British Minibike Championship. And well, Marco Holt, a fantastic rider, a FAB legend, the only rider, I believe, off the top of my head to win both the 50s and the 70s in the same year. He's off doing some wondrous things and now lines up alongside Wilson Dilks, the reigning champion for race number 2. Hopefully, we're going to be having a brilliant battle, especially with Day, McCartney, Polhill and Shaw in the mix. We have 6 riders strong in contention for this win.
Absolutely, there's so many you can't count out there. Bit of confusion as Mark Holt does struggle to find his grid box. And you are right, one of only 2 to actually do that double. Casey O'Gorman was the other one. Still an incredible stat though, a very elite club to be in. So yeah, expect big things from the future for Mark Holt. Of course, been racing off in Europe this year, taking it to the European big boys. Let's see how we're going to get on then in race number 2, the amphibian scaffolding Extreme 200. We are go here. Better start this time from Marco Holt, but it will be Wilson Dilks that takes the lead down into turn 1. Good launch from Henry McCartney on the 31 as Harry Payne tries to slice his way through on that pit bike style machine. Elsewhere, Filip Sorowiak's made up a few places. Jamie King there down the back trying to make some moves alongside Chris Wells, but it is Wilson Dilks that leads the way ahead of Marco Holt with Henry McCartney holding on to 3rd.
Yeah, really good start for Wilson Dilks, of course, double reigning champion here in FAB-Racing, getting off to a fantastic start, but let's see if Marco Holt or Henry McCartney can start applying some pressure. The gap has opened up ever so slightly, but look for Marco Holt. As soon as those tyres come up to temperature, as soon as he finds a rhythm, he'll be all over the back of Wilson Dilks and starting to apply some pressure. Wilson was impeccable over the course of 2024, continuing that form, taking the triple sweep back at Lyd, and then of course the race victory yesterday as well. Moved to the inside there from the 99. That's Finney Polhill on the inside of Harrison Day. They're making some moves going forward as well. Harrison Day on the Metric, of course, doesn't want to sort of take too much out of the tyres because he has to use those later on for the 70s, but out there getting some more track time, settling in really well in this race. However, a looming Travis Shaw looking to snatch that place off of him.
Yeah, could maybe not be too long before we start to see some position swapping, but Day holding his own at the moment, as maybe just not quite close enough to put some pressure on Henry McCartney in the meantime as well. Dilks still from Holt, still from McCartney, your top 3. And in this battle just behind for 4th place, Day, Polhill, Travis Shaw getting involved as well. So interesting to see. There is Wilson Dilks, and it's a very different story to what we saw at the start of race 1. Dilks has checked out already. A 1.5 second gap up the front of the track. He's already setting blisteringly fast lap times of 46.831, his fastest so far. Of course, he did set the lap record yesterday with a 46.779, so already getting close to that. Dilks could be looking to smash his own lap record in this race.
Yeah, Wilson Dilks was setting record after record last year, and well, at the moment, he's got the lap record for the Extreme 200s at Ellough Park. Not updated, of course, on the website, but he said it yesterday, getting very, very close to that already, and with the track cooling down, with that lovely tailwind going into the final hairpin, could be a recipe for some very, very fast lap times indeed. Slightly slower that last time by, but the 3-bike train here. A look to the inside from Henry McCartney as he tries to find a way through, fighting away with Marco Holt. They're neck and neck as they approach turn number 2. Outside look for McCartney, and arriving on the scene is Finney Polhill just behind as well.
Well, if there's ever a rider that's going to go down swinging, it is Marco Holt. Such an aggressive young man when he gets on the bike, but it is always brilliant to watch. He really scraps, he really fights for every last second, for every last inch on the racetrack. And, well, not normally for every last position, because what we're normally used to seeing from Marco Holt was he would disappear up the front and do his own thing and win the race. Much akin to what Wilson Dilks is doing right now, quite frankly, but it's a different story as he almost high sides at Paddock Bend. Somehow somehow Marco Holt's still on the bike and not lost too much time either, because Paul Hill and Henry McCartney are scrapping away really, really intensely in front of him. So he's managed to nearly crash, not quite crash, and still be right in the thick of this battle. Unbelievable. This time to the inside goes Paul Hill. Can't quite find the move. Looks like McCartney will stay in second for the time being, but three riders inseparable out on the racetrack. McCartney from Paul Hill, from Holt, second, third, fourth place. Look to the inside from Paul Hill. That's going to cost him time, but doesn't cost him any places. Holt had to just get out of it a little bit. Let's all take a breather for a moment. That was a crazy lap for these guys.
Yeah, it was indeed. Here comes Paul Hill straight back up the inside of the hairpin, but gets the door slammed in his face from Henry McCartney, who has to go in slightly deep in order to defend the position. That's going to compromise him going into the penultimate corner. It's all a case of who can get the power down the quickest. 4 laps left to go, of course, as they break the beam. Now towards turn number 1. Paul Hill takes to the inside. Marco Holt having to sit idle in this battle, wait for an opportunity to capitalise. But Paul Hill with the pace, inside line for turn number 2, and catapults his way to second.
Lovely, lovely stuff from Finley. Paul Hill, oh, it's getting crazy as he runs it deep as a result, though, and goes wide and loses out to Marco Holt, drops down into 4th place. McCartney back to second. Holt with a huge run through the sweepers. Don't think he's going to be close enough. Doesn't quite have the angles for a launch into the bottom hairpin section as they run down into Paddock Bend. Anyone fancy it? Paul Hill once again closing in on the brakes. Holt once again getting very, very close to McCartney. Finley, Paul Hill looks super, super aggressive, super, super brave, getting on the anchors down into that corner. Again, that's where you've got the tailwind coming in there as well, so that's where braking going to be a little bit harder. But right now it is still Dilks that leads now, 6 seconds while these guys are all scrapping. So Dilks is home and dry, quite frankly. Holt looks to the inside, maybe also a defensive manoeuvre as Paul Hill himself drew alongside on the far side of the circuit. And now look at Holt, maybe a wheel up the inside if he fancies it into the hairpin. This time no, has to go the long way round, as this time it's McCartney going defensive, gets a slow run off the corner. This is the opportunity for Marco Holt. 3 abreast into Paddock Bend. Somehow they're all still on 2 wheels, and somehow, Zach Sweeney, they're in the same order that they were a lap ago.
This is amazing, really putting the extreme in Extreme 200. 3 laps left to go now as they cross the start-finish line. It's McCartney from Holt, from Paul Hill, as they are on your screen. Henry McCartney, of course, a fab legend here in the paddock. And, well, at the moment, doing a fantastic job as to hold firm for second place. Only 2 of these riders are going to finish on the podium. Marco Holt with the dilemma. He's got to look forwards to attack, backwards to defend. McCartney under all worlds of pressure, and Paul Hill with the pace. Harrison Day not a million miles away either, but may just run out of time to get involved in this fight. Having to offset McCartney off his line. Marco Holt trying to get the acceleration towards the hairpin, doesn't quite have it, but with the tailwind, Finley Paul Hill looks to go to the inside, but once more Marco Holt shuts the door in his face, says no you don't, and holds firm to third.
What a brilliant and beautiful fight we are witnessing right now for second and third place. With 2 laps to go in race number 2, the amphibian scaffolding Extreme 200, and it's anyone's guess who's going to be in the podium places once again. Paul Hill looks to the inside of Holt, was unable to make a move, but he's still looking, still trying to find an answer. My goodness, that was close, way too close for comfort there. Once again, they somehow are still on the bike, still on 2 wheels, and not down and out on the floor. Again, just a reminder this afternoon, new rule, new direction from race control. If you come off the bike, you're not allowed to remount, you're not allowed to rejoin the race. You get 1 chance, and if you throw it away, that is it. As up the inside goes Paul Hill. Holt squeezes him. 1 lap to go as Wilson Dilks crosses the line. He's a country mile ahead. He's got this race in the bag pending a disaster. Here though, a massive 3-way fight for second and third place, and it's anybody's guess who's going to be taking them.
Well, exactly that. 1 more lap, and all of these riders, it's all been boiling down to this. Everything before this has been meaningless. Now it comes down to who can lead this final lap. Of course, Wilson Dilks is going to take the victory, but this race has been won for second. McCartney just able to hold off Holt. Paul Hill trying to get involved as well, but no open door for him. 1 more realistic overtaking opportunity. We'll have to see Wilson Dilks across the line as he laps 4-time Pit Bike 140 champion Jamie King. 2 times he said it in 2024 with the championship. Wilson Dilks stakes his claim in Extreme 200, sees the checkered flag first, back to the fight for second place. Marco Holt, Finley Paul Hill, 3 abreast press towards the line. It's going to be Marco Halt that takes second. After all of that, McCartney finishes fourth. Change on the final lap here at Ellough Park. Oh my goodness me. And that is what Fab Racing is all about. That is what the Extreme 200s can bring. And Wilson Dilks is none the wiser to it.
Man, oh man, Henry McCartney went from second to fourth in the space of about 50 metres to the start-finish line, and still you could tell he was impressed with that. A big shake of the hand, a big high five to Marco Halt from the 31. Even he was like, you know what, mate? Fair play. I can't say anything bad about that. What an unbelievable move from Marco Halt, going where no bike should fit up the inside, and somehow Polhill with a run to the outside as well as they both slid by McCartney. What a battle, what a race in the amphibian scaffolding Extreme 200s here at round 2 at Ellough Park. Man, oh man. Unbelievable. Wilson Dilks, well, 8.8 seconds up the road. He was doing his own thing. 8.9, quite frankly. Who really cares? Because Marco Halt and Finlay Polhill second and third. Henry McCartney fourth. What a battle there. Harrison Day was fifth with Travis Shaw P6. Taylor Tomlinson seventh with Harry Payne P8. Philip Soroviak finishes ninth with Logan Cousins coming home in P10. That is race 2 done and dusted for the Extreme 200s. They'll be back out a little bit later on, albeit unfortunately with a shortened race. But still, what a race that was. Hopefully we get a little bit more of that from these guys in race 3 and later on in the season as well. Time for race number 2 of our new class, the Mini GP50Rs. Of course, open to upgraded Metric Kit Mini GP50s with a bigger carburettor, and also open to Avali 140s and 160s. Now, these guys, always very interesting to see how a new class unfolds, and a really interesting race number 1 as well. Sebastian Gazlowski still the man of the moment so far. So we'll see if he can manage to maintain that position in this one. Of course, Queenie, this is the last of our race 2s. So unfortunately, it's the last of the full-length races that we are going to be experiencing today. So let's hope it's a good one.
Yeah, well, it definitely will be a good one indeed. Of course, new class for this season adds a little bit of extra competition. Again, allows and increases the reach of Fab Racing to allow those that have the Avali chassis to come and race it. Mix it up, of course, with the Metric Kits, and of course giving the Metric Kits a chance with the upgraded carburetor, allowing more fuel to enter and produce a little bit more power compared to what they're used to. And that's why you'll see a number of recognisable faces, the likes of Gazlowski, Watson, Curtis, all in this class as well, and they're going to be looking to get some more experience again on that Metric Kit 50. They're making their way to the grid, where they'll be set off for their formation lap to the grid, and then again to get this race underway for what will be 10 very, very fast, very, very frantic laps of racing action. And again, even though it's a new class, of course, it's the same bikes that we're sort of used to seeing already. And again, the same riders that we've come to know and love, with some electric battles all the way through. And Mason Fedrick as well on that front row. It's his first full year on the geared bikes, of course, with even more power now in this class with the upgraded carburetor. He's a very, very impressive little rider, mixing it up with riders such as, you know, Frankie Watson and Sebastian Gazlowski. In fact, even qualifying ahead of Frankie Watson.
Absolutely, and well, it was a really disappointing race for Fedrick yesterday. A problem with, we believe, his gear selector actually coming off. Ultimately finished last on the road, P11, a lap down. Let's run through the grid for you, shall we? It is Sebastian Gazlowski who starts on pole position. His lap time 2/10 quicker than Fedrick alongside Frankie Watson and Matthew Thomas on row 2, with Bradley Curtis 5th. Josh Perkins in P6. Tommy Keats is 7th with Jensen Ansel in P8. Emilio Pereira and Caelan Ratcliffe rounding out the top 10, with Nicholas Dunwoody in 11th, Kai Hawk in 12th, and Oscar McAllister rounding out our grid of 13 riders, should I say, here at Ellough Park. Race number 2 getting ready to go here. Sebastian Gazlowski did dominate race number 1, but only after Fedrick had those issues. So going into this one, if Fedrick is able to overcome those reliability problems, and if the gear lever actually stays on the bike, helpful, should be a really interesting fight.
Yeah, funnily enough, you do need that. Who'd have thought? They are making their way to the grid. They'll line themselves up, and then we'll be able to go racing once again. Of course, it's the almost war between chassis. The Avali versus, of course, the Metric Kits. They are both fairly equal in terms of the pace, thanks to the regulations of the Mini GP50R class. However, who's going to be more favoured around Ellough Park, where you need the acceleration, you also need the top end speed, you also need the agility through the corners. Final lineups being made. towards the back end of the field. It's Gazlowski on pole, Frederick alongside, eyes to the lights for race number 2, the Mini GP50 R class. Lights go out, we go racing. Good start there from the front row. Mason Frederick straight into the race lead towards turn number 1. Gazlowski had no defence there as they're making their way through further back as well. Is the switch back on for the 64? Super Seb unable to find a way through. Frankie Watson settling in third place, but Mason Frederick already up into the race lead. Immediately under pressure though, Sebastian Gazlowski looks to go to the outside through the infield hairpin. No way through for now. Mason Frederick leads this race.
Avali leads in front of Metric. Great start there from Mason Frederick. Can he hold on from the hard charging Sebastian Gazlowski though, as the rest of the riders negotiate their way around Ellough Park, the front 2, and already Gazlowski's back in front. We missed the move, but the 64 back to the lead of the race, and he should be leading the opening lap at the end of this tour. There we see Tommy Keats, he's made a couple of moves on this one. Gazlowski, small check back over the right hand shoulder just to confirm, yep, I'm in the lead, and at the line as well. Pretty healthy gap, a couple of tenths at least. So Gazlowski and Frederick, both of them pulling away, and Gazlowski with a big enough gap behind him that he doesn't need to worry about coming under immediate attack.
Yeah, exactly. However, you can't get sort of complacent with that. You have to keep pressing on. The race is only going to be out of your front view. You cannot be worrying about what's going on behind you. The minute you start looking backwards is the minute you concede and allow them to close the gap. Mason Frederick, of course, needs to be locked onto the rear fender of Gazlowski, not let him get away one bit. There you can see the 71. That's Bradley Curtis. Whatever issues befallen the GP50 bike that he's on, thankfully, are all sorted that we saw earlier on. So he's back out on track at the moment in 5th, trying to chase down Matthew Thomas just in front of him. That's the battle for 4th place. Then, of course, Frankie Watson completing the podium just in behind our top 2. However, that last lap time, 0.3 of a second in favour of Gazlowski. He's pulling away in front and not looking to bring Mason Frederick with him.
Well, let's see if Frederick can try and keep pace, though. It's anybody's guess with 8 laps left to run in this one. There is Bradley Curtis all over the rear of Matthew Thomas, the 47, just about holding on to 4th place as it stands in front of them. Frankie Watson is rounding out the podium, not too far in front of them, it must be added. So maybe if these two decided to work together, they could push forward and both try and compete for the final podium place. We'll have to wait and see if they're going to do that, or if they decide, you know what, nah, let's just fight each other instead for 4th. Only time will tell. As a little look to the inside there from Curtis, who isn't having any gearbox gremlins so far, but it has been affecting him all weekends. Touching wood, the commentator's curse doesn't come in there, and he immediately blows up. Looks to the outside, now to the inside maybe, gets a great run out of turn 1, but Thomas slams the door shut, doesn't let him through. He's going to have to defend hard now. They're going to lose time. This is now very firmly a battle for 4th.
Yeah, very, very much so. Of course, once they're settled in this battle, there's not really much that they're going to be able to do in order to get after Frankie Watson, unless there's a mistake that falls the way of the 14. We are at the moment 3 laps into this race. 7 laps to go. Make that 6.5, of course, as they'll break the beam once more and start another lap in a few moments' time. Gazlowski able to lead from Mason Frederick, Frankie Watson, then this battle you're watching on screen. Matthew Thomas at the bike in front, the 71, the blue and white machine just in behind. How much longer? Look to the inside from Bradley Curtis. Lovely stuff into that final hairpin. Gets the acceleration he needs as well. Has to go defensive on the drag race towards turn number 1, giving Thomas the squeeze to open up turn number 1 as much as possible. Now, Bradley Curtis in front into 4th place. Can he check out, or has Thomas got a defence in mind in order to launch a counter-attack?
Lovely, lovely move there to get inside and get that position as well as they run the laps down. Can Curtis disappear, or will Matthew Thomas continue to attack? We'll have to wait and see. 6 laps left to go. Gazlowski still only 5/10 ahead of Mason Frederick. He's not broken away as much as he'd have liked to, I don't think. It initially looked like Gazlowski on the 64 was just going to start creeping away, but both of them staying hot with each other. But they themselves, of course, have now vanished ahead away from Frankie Watson. It was 2.5 seconds from Frederick to Frankie Watson at the line last time. It is now up to 2.7, so slowly pulling away are the leaders with 5 laps left to go and continuing to do battle as well. Even if they're not right next to each other on the racetrack, Frederick is close enough to cause some pressure. Maybe just fill that space at the back of the mind of Sebastian Gazlowski. And that's what Frederick will be really trying to do. I think he knows, quite frankly, he doesn't quite have the pace to make the move on his own. I think he's relying on a small Gazlowski error, just running ever so slightly deep into a corner or missing a braking point by maybe half a metre at most. That's just going to run him a little bit wide. That allows him to close up, try and get through.
Yeah, motor racing is margins of, fractions of fractions when it comes to how sensitive adjustments are, and all it takes, like you say, half a metre too late, half a second too long in terms of reactions, and that's all it can take to really change a race around. Mason Frederick, though, like you say, on pure pace, keeping it respectively at a little bit of a stalemate, but you're right, he's going to need to make a mistake. How he does that, he needs to fill the mirrors, he needs to make his shadow, albeit not very big ones, known with the sun hiding away behind the clouds, but you need to sort of get as close as you can. Let Gazlowski hear your bike behind him, let him see your shadow, close the gap under braking as you go, because it makes him think twice, and the minute he's got hesitation, the minute he thinks and second guesses himself, is the minute that you can then capitalise. Mason Frederick, we saw through his Mini Moto days when he was racing with Rex Austin and Caelan Ratcliffe, he never hesitated, he was so aggressive. If there was a gap, he was going to fill it, and you can bet your bottom dollar, if he's able to close that gap with 3 laps left to go, he's going to execute at least an attempt for the race lead.
But you can see, unfortunately, the gap now visually growing up to 0.8 of a second at the line on the previous tour, and it looks like it's growing still, whether Frederick is backing off a little bit, whether maybe there's an issue, or whether Gazlowski is entering another gear. Who, quite frankly, can't tell, but you can tell it's growing, and you can tell that Gazlowski now is starting to put one hand on that first place trophy come the end of this race. Race number 2, of course, in the Mini GP50 R class, this new class for the 2025 MasterMac FAB-Racing Minibike British Championship season. As they continue to push around, there is Emilio Pereira just in front of Tommy Keats. That's for P7 at the moment, and Pereira doing a great job once again. This is his first season racing on the Mini GP50 and the Mini GP50 R bikes, and of course the upgraded Mini GP50 bikes that are them with the bigger carburetor, jumping straight up as well from the FAB-Racing Rookies Cup. A phenomenal jump to make. He's not messed around. It was like, no, I've done my Mini Motos, I want a Vice Championship in that. He's getting straight on the gear bikes, and I tell you what, he has mightily impressed me so far this season. Sometimes you get it where riders, they make the jump a little bit too early, they're not quite ready, physically, or their skills just aren't quite there yet for the bigger gear bikes, but Pereira's jumped in and immediately is right in the mix in the midfield.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he was a very, very strong contender. Of course, has won Mini Moto Championships in other forms of British mini bike racing. Of course, just missed out at this very track in September of last year to Nelly Nuth. A mistake of his own volition, but it seems that he's been able to recover from that. He's a very confident young rider, and his confidence that you don't often see. Some of them are quite shy and reserved. Emilio Pereira, he knows how good he is. He's got the shades, he's got the swagger, he's got the cool, and that's what he brings onto the racetrack as well. I was looking over the winter as well at the extensive prep that all riders have been doing, but Pereira especially, to get up to grips with a geared bike. Half a lap left to go though for Sebastian Gazlowski, and it seems though he's thwarted off the attack from Mason Frederick, and he's just, cruising his way to victory.
Yeah, Gazlowski has done a mighty effort. There's Bradley Curtis currently in 4th place, and we just wait to see where our leaders are, and there is Sebastian Gazlowski with a couple of corners to go. It was a fight early on, but now he can cruise on by. The 64 takes race number 2 with a fantastic performance. Gazlowski once again is the man to beat in 2025, takes victory by 2.2 seconds in race 2 of the Mini GP50Rs. And yes, there was an early fight, but once he clicked, once he found that zone, once the bike came to him and was all warmed up and ready, there was no looking back. The 64's on top once again. A fantastic performance from him as Mason Frederick and Frankie Watson round out the podium places. But really, there was only one man it was going to be, and it was that boy who started from pole position and never really looked back. Is he doing a practice start as well? Even preparing for race number 3 later on here in the 50s. Unbelievable. He's just won a race and is like, you know what? Yeah, practice start. I wasn't happy with how that went. I lost a position. Let's try that again.
He's got more races to win. Of course, we're running through the full finishing results. Of course, it's Gazlowski, Super Seb, that takes victory ahead of Mason Frederick, and Frankie Watson, the podium. Bradley Curtis and Matthew Thomas complete the top 5 ahead of Josh Perkins, and Emilio Pereira, who was able to fend off Tommy Keats in the battle for 7th. Nicholas Dunwoody from Caelan Ratcliffe, the top 10, and Oscar McAllister bike number 11 in P11 at the end of that one as well. That's race number 2 at the Mini GP 50 R class, of course, with the Ovali 140 and 160s out with them, and we'll see them later on for race number 3. And well, what a race we're expecting. I mean, Sebastian Gazlowski, of course, those tyres on that bike have to do an extra set, whereas Mason Frederick, of course, has got the Ovali set to go with it, so he's going to be maybe a slight advantage later on in the day. But Gazlowski in his riding at the moment he's just rising to another level this year in 2025.
Yeah, he really is doing a fantastic job, and once again with a fantastic display. These guys, of course, they'll be out for race 3 a little bit later on, and it should be interesting to see whether Fedrick can get any closer or whether Gazlowski is simply untouchable. Final race of the weekend awaits us in the FAB-Racing Rookies Cup, brought to you by Grassroots to Grand Prix. Unfortunately, this race is going to be a little bit shorter than we expected. Normally, they were going to be around 8 laps. We'll have to wait and see how long this race is going to be. But as they're making their way onto the grid, we should be getting a sighting lap, I believe, because this class haven't been out until we every class so far has been on the sighting lap as well, so we'll have to wait and see what is going to happen as they make their way to the grid. Yeah, it should be interesting. I mean, it's been a fantastic weekend of racing so far in this category. Austin Baton, 2 wins out of 2, and looks pretty untouchable so far. We'll have to wait and see if he can make it a clean sweep.
Yeah, let's see. Of course, we're now officially halfway through the racing as we start race number 3s with the Rookies Cup. Of course, let us know in the YouTube chat who is the rider that you're watching along for, who's impressed you most over the course of this weekend. Maybe race number 3 is going to sway your choice as to who is going to take your pick for the Rookies Cup rider of the weekend. One sighting lap, they'll take to the formation lap. Let's run you through the grid. Of course, it's going to be Austin Baton on pole position from Cooper Say alongside Zach Athersidge from Casey Reeson and row 2 from Hayden Bailey and Oliver Cheeseman in 6th. Jensen Brown from Chase Carter will line up row number 4 and Theo Tyler and Oakley Hipwell in 10th. Savannah Polden from Keely Bailey on row number 6 with Liam Hayland and Oscar Bond row 7. Arlo Simmons rounded off the top 15 from Ayrton Oakley and Izzy Cook in 17th, and last place for the FAB-Racing Rookies Cup. Well, I'm very much looking forward to this one, of course, with the support of this cup from Grassroots to Grand Prix, doing a lot of work to allow these young rookies the resources that they need to propel their racing career. And of course, you guys, like I was saying earlier, you can help give these young riders the support that they need to propel their racing career with your nomination for the FAB-Racing Rookies Cup Rider of the Round. Last chance, of course, with their final race of the weekend in order to get your nominations in. So let us know in the YouTube chat who are you thinking is going to take that very prestigious award. Of course, these young riders, their first step on the very long motorbike racing ladder up through the ranks, and well, they're lining themselves up on the grid now. It was domination for Austin Baton. Can anyone match him in race 3?
We'll have to wait and see. Just an update from Race Control. These races are with the Mini Motors. They're actually going to stay the same length that they would have done. We had a few delays earlier if you've just joined us in the last couple of minutes. So originally all of the race 3s are going to be shortened. The Mini Motos are staying the same length. It'll just be the bigger geared bikes that have slightly shortened races, which is great because we get more exciting Mini Moto action, which is always brilliant around here at Ellough Park. Austin Baton looking to sweep the weekend. Can Cooper Say, Zach Athersidge, Casey Reeson, any of them have a say against it and try and come in? And of course, who is going to be bringing home not just 25 points in a race win in this one, but as well, we need to look forward to who is going to be winning the FAB-Racing Rookies Cup Rider of the Round. Great start there from Austin Baton as they rocket away from the lights. Cooper Say, a little bit disappointing, unfortunately, as they negotiate their way around turn number 1. Look at the advantage that Austin Baton already has. Quite frankly, already booked his ticket and checked out. He is miles in front of everybody else. I think partly because he got a fantastic start. I think everyone else just struggled ever so slightly.
Yeah, exactly. It's a combination of the both. He got a really, really good start, good reactions to the lights, and those behind just struggled ever so slightly. Again, you see on these Mini Motos less power, so trying to just give it some oomph. You try and sort of skateboard it away to get some extra speed, get some extra propulsion to get the bike up to speed. But there you can see the 100 machine, of course, very nice livery in the form of the Spider-Man inspired. But that being said, it is the 89 of Cooper Say. He's not a million miles away, of course, not quite checked out just yet is Austin Baton. However, he is in a very, very good position in order to do so. Let's see what the gap is as they break the beam for the first time. A couple of bike lengths, but not completely gone. Let's see how the next couple laps play out, and a very important couple laps actually for Cooper Say if he wants any say and if he wins this race.
Have to wait and see some battles further back in the pack. That's the 95 of Casey Reeson battling with Zach Athersidge. They've swapped places early doors in this race. 7 laps left to run in this one after completing just 1.5 tours so far. So it is currently Casey Reeson that has the advantage on Athersidge. Again, Athersidge started third, Reeson started fourth, but then now swap places, going side by side into the sweepers. Very, very deep lines there from Athersidge. Getting a bit experimentally, seems, trying some things from left field, trying to see if something out of the box will work and gaining some speed. Unfortunately, on that occasion, don't think it quite worked out for him. But interesting to see that he's willing to experiment with alternate lines through some of the corners, see if it gives him a bit of a run, maybe a bit of a setup into some of the braking zones as they're about to make it 6 laps left to go as they come to the line. There are the race leaders. Gap last time was 8 tenths. This time it is 1.2 as they cross the line. But very, very close between Reeson and Athersidge. Only 2 tenths of a second at the line. Reeson still holding on at the moment.
Yeah, doing a really good job, and it is interesting to see Athersidge very way off the traditional racing line. Of course, that approach, usually what you see is riders using all of the track space available, really open up the angle of each corner to maximise how much speed they can take through it. This battle here, the 35, that's Oliver Cheeseman. Just in behind, that's going to be Jensen Brown, giving him some trouble going into the infield hairpin. And yeah, like I was saying earlier, with such low power, sometimes it's actually not a case of using all of the track space because it's just extra distance. You're better off taking a tighter line to minimise that and shorten your route. And I think that's sort of the approach that Zach Athersidge is trying to take in that battle against Casey Reeson. This battle, though, continuing on. This is the battle for P5, like I say. Cheeseman versus Brown, and a problem there for the 35. Goes slow, rejoins the circuit, and that's going to promote Brown up to 5th.
I think he may have just overshot the corner on the exit a little bit. If you run a little bit too deep at that left-hander after the hairpin, there's actually a tyre barrier plastered in the way so you don't cut the corner. So if you get it ever so slightly wrong, you do really need to get out of it. So I think that is what has happened there, unfortunately, for him. Anyway, back to the battle for third place. Currently Casey Reeson and Zach Athersidge still going strong. Reeson still holding on the number 95 machine. Extended the gap to 5 tenths of a second at the line last time round. 5 laps left to go. Not far away until we get to 4. And up the front, Austin Baton continues to extend his advantage. 1.7 seconds now ahead of Cooper Say on the number 89. Casey Reeson, as we're seeing, still holding on to that third place. Zach Athersidge right now just doesn't really have anything that's giving him an edge. Not really anything that's cutting him just a little bit closer to try and have a proper look.
Yeah, he's trying his best, and again, like you were saying, he's trying different things, trying to find what works, what doesn't. And at this stage of their career, that's exactly what they need to be doing, because it's gaining that experience. That's the one thing they don't have. Raw talent, they've got it in abundance. Experience is something that they're really trying to build, and almost a portfolio as such of races and race experience and different things, different lines, different corners to try and build that. And that's exactly what Athersidge is doing. So very commendable stuff from the young rider there. There's Austin Baton, our race leader. 4 laps left to go in this race. And Cooper Say about 1.1 seconds back. Best lap time in race number 2, like we saw earlier on, it was about 1.3 seconds different best lap times from Baton to Cooper Say. Now, a much more respectable, just 3 tenths of a second in terms of their best lap times. A 101.412 compared to a 101.777 from Baton to Say, respectively. And it seems that Say has turned it up definitely a noticeable amount. Not quite enough to really be challenging Baton at this stage in the race, but he's closing that gap bit by bit by bit and giving more of a reason for Baton to be looking over his shoulder.
Yeah, I'm not really sure why it's taken Cooper Say that long to find that pace, but he's started to push onwards and starting to get a bit. Let's see if Baton responds as they cross the line now. And yes, he does. Immediately, a fastest lap of the race. A second quicker than Cooper Say's lap time. A 1 minute 1.027. Man, oh man, that is quick. And not far away, actually, from the lap record set by Well, actually, let's have a look and see what it was, the lap record. Lap record currently held by Tommy Williams. Actually, it is a little bit away from the lap record. I was looking at the wrong time, unfortunately, but still very, very quick indeed. And Austin Payton, the gap now up to 2.2 seconds. And he's doing a masterful job. Will he be the rider of the round? Who knows? We'll find out in a little while. But I think he's certainly in contention because he has just been fantastic all weekend.
Yeah, he's got to be. Sometimes you don't want to just give it to the guy that wins, right? Because it's almost a case of, well, yeah, they won, they did a good job. You almost want to look through the rest of the field and see who's impressed you most. But the riding that we've seen from Austin Payton has been second to none. He has been so dominant at such a young age, and it's sort of exactly what you sort of see in riders like, you know, Emilio Pereira, who's doing so well now in the 50s. He was riding exactly like that at last year in the rookies. Nelly Muth as well, taking that step up into the Inters. You know, these young riders, they develop at such an early age, and some just click with the bike. They don't need a lot of acclimatization to get used to it. They just get on and they go, and that's exactly what Austin Payton has been doing. 2 tours of Ellough Park left to go in race number 3 of their weekend before we say goodbye to them for round number 2 of the MasterMac FAB-Racing British Minibike Championship. Cooper say, though, he's done better in race number 3, and if nothing else, progress is definitely something that he can take away from this round.
That is absolutely correct, Zach. You know, it's been steady progress over the weekend for Cooper Say. He's gotten closer and closer and closer. And yes, maybe Austin Payton just a little bit too far out of reach at the moment. It's all about experience in the FAB-Racing Rookies Cup, brought to you by Grassroots to Grand Prix. It's all about getting these young riders, many of them in their first season, maybe even their first weekends of bike racing. It's about getting them out there, getting them onto the track, getting them used to being out there racing amongst other athletes. And yes, of course, they'll want to win. Yes, there's differing experience levels, and yes, there is a championship to consider at the end of the day, but the main part of this is all about experience, and it's all about just getting the riders experience, getting them learning the tricks and skills of riding a bike. As they come round and coming round, Austin Payton ready. Rider is coming through, and it is Austin Payton who is winning this race. There we do see Austin Payton about to take victory, also has claimed rider of the round. And congratulations to him, but it has got to be well deserved because he's rounding the penultimate corner now. Austin Payton, simply untouchable. A little bit of traffic to contend with as he comes to the line, but it is 3 out of 3 for the number 100. Austin Payton sweeps the weekend, and it won't get any sweeter than that. What an unreal weekend that young man has had. Simply dominant fashion. Cooper Say brings it home in P2 on the 89, 4.3 seconds away, as Zach Aftersic brings it home in 3rd place. As it looks like Casey Reeson had some problems, actually dropped down the order a little bit late on, but it is Austin Payton on top of the world once again. 3 out of 3 here at Ellough Park, and will claim the actual, there is an actual trophy for Rookie Rider of the Round as well, so he picks up an extra trophy on top of the 3 trophies that he's going to take, or the medals I should say, that he's going to take home for 3 wins. Thank you to everyone who voted for Rider of the Round, and let us know your thoughts. It is Austin Payton, understandably so. He was simply untouchable. No one else was even close. Austin Payton takes the win with Cooper Say in 2nd and Zach Aftersic in 3rd. Jensen Brown is 4th with Oliver Cheeseman P5. Casey Reeson is 6th with Caden Bailey 7th. Savannah Polden P8. Theo Tyler was 9th, and Chase Carter brought it home in P10. That is it for the FAB-Racing Rookies Cup here at Ellough Park, presented by Grassroots to Grand Prix. Of course, they'll be out next time we head to Hooton Park. But today, here in Suffolk, they're done and dusted. No more. It was all over, as they say. Final race of the weekend here at Ellough Park for the AC40 Pros and the LC40 Elite. A bit of a bizarre weekend where we've had one race with only one LC40 Elite bike, and then some crazy racing in race number 2 as well. Of course, after some delays, we were hoping this race wouldn't be shortened. Luckily, we do have the time to run it full distance, a full 8 laps to look forward to here in this one. Should be really interesting to see how it all unfolds. Again, Zach, we have that strange dynamic where we've got 2 LC40 Elite bikes at the front of the grid in Maxwell Keats and Jensen Cedras. They'll be off fighting on their own. The pace advantage of the Liquid Cool bike here is quite significant. But behind them, the 8 other riders are all going to be fighting it, scrapping tooth and nail.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we saw Maxwell Keats obviously take to the win earlier on, and Jensen Cedras was able to give him at least somewhat of a battle for the majority of the race. But the real fighting was between Henry Brody and Tommy Williams in the fight for the lead in the pros. It was amazing to watch. I'm sure it's going to be no different for the final race of these guys for their round number 2 of the 2025 MasterMac FAB-Racing British Minibike Championship. Of course, let us know where you're watching from and who you're cheering on for at home. Let us know who's your favourite rider's been, what your favourite race has been, and of course, your thoughts and feelings as this race develops, because it's going to be one to look forward to, I'm sure. Again, race 2 was amazing. Henry Brody in that battle with Tommy Williams was awesome to see. Again, such maturity at such a young age.
That is absolutely correct. Those two going at it with, just flying into each other. Well, not literally flying into each other out on the racetrack, so to speak, but they really were flying and really were giving it to each other. But it was a fantastic race too. Of course, these are the stars of tomorrow today on the road to MotoGP, an official partner series to the Bennett's British Superbike Championship. These are the guys that you're going to be seeing up in Grand Prix racing, up in World Superbikes, up in British Superbikes in a handful of years' time. And it's really interesting to see them out there racing now and already. It's going to be one sighting lap before they get ready to go. So being sent around now, let's run through the grid. The 2 LC40 Elite bikes make up the front row, with Maxwell Keats on pole and Jensen Cedras in P2. Henry Brody starts third with Tommy Williams P4. Joey Apisic is fifth with Emerson Oakley alongside. Row 4 is Danny Longhurst with Claudia Dubman next to her. And rounding out our 10-rider grid is Ethan Bayliss and Oliver Wilson. So the riders, one sighting lap before we get going. Luckily, it is a full race distance as well to look forward to. Should be interesting to see what's going to happen. Again, the Liquid Cool bikes, they're going to go off at the front. Their pace advantage is just so much more around here. But again, more battles to be expected among the front runners of the air-cooled class.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, is that, you know, you have your 2 different classes. And while, yeah, fair enough, when we maybe get some more technical circuits later on in the year, maybe the pros can mix it up for the overall win. They're not going to score any more points for doing so, but they might be able to do that. It's just the power advantage, the top-end advantage of the Liquid Cool bikes means that Maxwell Keats and Jensen Cedras are going to have such an advantage over the rest of the field. And well, with them all lining up now, getting themselves ready to take to their final race start of the day. Henry Brody and Tommy Williams there, that's the second row and really the front row for the pros. It's nice that they've lined up so linearly for us. Maxwell Keats and Jensen Cedras, they're the 2 race leaders for the elites, and then of course the 2 pro leaders behind that. Joey Apisic and Emerson Oakley, though, could definitely be some dark horses in this race.
Yeah, they absolutely could, looking very racy in race number 2 earlier today. So we'll have to wait and see, but it is Henry Brody that starts on pole in that class. Maxwell Keats starts on pole in the elites. Little jump there from someone by the looks of things. We'll have to wait and see if race control gets involved, but it is Jensen Cedras that takes the lead in the elite class into turn 1. Henry Brody holds on to 3rd place overall, holds on to the lead in the pro class. Looks like Tommy Williams may have dropped a couple of places in the opening chaos, and up the front already, Cedras under big pressure. Brody still holding on to the leaders for the time being, as Maxwell Keats looks to the inside. That'd be a big move if the pulls it off, isn't quite able to on that occasion. Cedras and Keats starting to vanish away at the front of the pack, as there's a few stragglers a little bit further down. I think they had a bit of a disappointing start, unfortunately, but coming to the end of lap number 1, looks like it's going to be Jensen Cedras that leads in the elite class, Henry Brody that leads in the pros.
Yeah, nicely done actually from Cedras to get the lead in the opening moments, but Maxwell Keats is not going to go down without a couple of swings to go with it. 8 laps left to go at the line, of course. And well, as they break the beam for the first time, Joey Apisic actually got off to a pretty good start, up now ahead ahead of Tommy Williams, who I think was the rider that just got a little bit trigger happy going at the initial getaway. Did sort of go, then stop, then go again when the lights properly went off. A look to the inside, Maxwell Keats trying to find a way through for the lead. Be interesting to see if they investigate that, but Tommy Williams was the last rider. In fact, there he is. He's out of this race, Tommy Williams. So, well, Henry Brody is going to have a lovely time out in front of the Pro class. That is the last thing that Williams would have wanted for his weekend.
Yeah, real shame to end his weekend in this class that way. I wonder what happened, but the 51 down and out, and that is him done in this category. Meanwhile, big battle still raging in the elites class. Keats cannot find a way through the fast starting Cedras. Going to be 7 laps left to run as they cross the start-finish line this time by. And Cedras once again better run out of the final corner, able to hold on to that position and able to keep Keats behind. Can he stay there though, or does Keats have too much pace? Can Cedras handle that pressure? We'll have to wait and see as they make their way to the infield hairpin. Keats once again, little look, sits the bike up, see if he can make some magic happen. Just a little bit too far back on that occasion. Now the sweepers, this is where these bikes make up most of their time. This is the fastest part of the circuit for the Mini Motos, and with that extra power they can really just blitz on through there. Cedras still holding on though.
Yeah, indeed so. He's done a really good job just positioning the bike exactly where he needs to. Henry Brody there still leading the way in the Pro class. Maxwell Keats tumbled down a position, but I think that could just be a transponder issue, because there you can see him firmly still in contention. In fact, the better ride off for the final corner, not quite close enough to have a look going into turn number 1. They're setting up, analysing where is he quicker than Cedras, where does he get the run that he needs in order to find a way through. With the Mini Motos, of course, because they're not reaching the top speeds as they would in the on the geared bike classes, it means that you're not on the brakes for as long, and that opens the door for some slightly easier defending. Cedras hasn't got to work as hard to cover off Maxwell Keats in behind. So, yeah, it's going to be a tough ask for the 24 to find a way through, despite the fact that he definitely has got the pace. Needs the acceleration off some of these corners, especially at the back end of the circuit here. A good ride off of that hairpin could really open the door going into Paddock Bend.
Yeah, it can indeed, but Cedras is still holding firm for the time being. But that's a huge run from Keats and a huge dive at the inside into the penultimate corner. And now Maxwell Keats re-inherits the lead. Started on pole, fell back at the start, but that was a monster dive up the inside. And now he does take position back from Cedras. And the two LC40 Elite bikes still doing battle at the front of the pack. It's they both hit each other, and they're both out of the race. They can't remount, and they haven't been told this, I don't think. They swapped bikes. Keats high-sided, Cedras had nowhere to go, and they are not allowed back into the race. Both the LC40 Elite riders. Looks like Cedras is trying to go again, but I don't think they understand. Cedras certainly doesn't. He is not in this race. Both of them are down and out. Unbelievable drama here.
And that is huge for this race. Maxwell Keats, I'm sure, is devastated. Let's see if Jensen Cedras comes back into the pit lane as he's sort of supposed to. But if he doesn't, well, that's going to be an instant disqualification. What that does mean, though, is Henry Brody is going to be leading this race overall on the Pro bike. And, well, that is going to be huge, of course. Not going to just win the Pro class, but also win overall. No extra points, of course, for doing so, but a nice sort of ego boost as such. And there you can see the all-pink rider, Henry Brody, dominating in the Pro class. Now going to have a clear track, both in front and behind him, in order to bring home this overall victory. That's huge for the two race leaders, two tyrants, of course, of this class, and the only two in the liquid cool class as well. That is unfortunate, but that's what happens when you've got two riders so close to the limit, pushing it as much as they possibly can. One small off, and it takes them both.
Yeah, it looks like Cedras has realised as well that he's not allowed to rejoin the race, as he is vanished from our time. Well, he's still saying he's in third place out on track at the moment, but I can't see him actually out on the racing circuit right now. Of course, he is technically out of the race. You are not allowed to rejoin the race if you have to remount your bike. If you have a crash, that is it. You are down and out. So it is Henry Brody that now leads overall and leads the way still in the AC40 Pros. Both of our LC40 Elite riders down and out of this one. Wow, drama at the midpoint. 3 laps now to go. Brody has a very, very healthy gap back 2.9 seconds ahead of Joey Athersic, who himself has a huge lead over Emerson Oakley. 15.7 seconds separating second and third out on the racetrack. But the main reason that may have happened is that Oakley is losing big time with his battle with Danny Longhurst that rages on. Those two are locked together right now out on the racetrack.
Yeah, they are indeed. It's the closest battle that we've got. In fact, no, we've got another one. We've got Oliver Wilson versus Ethan Bayliss. That's the battle for P6 as well. Just a handful of laps left to run then in the final race of the day for the Pro Elite class here for the MasterMac FAB-Racing British Minibike Championship. Again, let us know who you're cheering on, who you're supporting in the comment section, both on YouTube and, of course, on Facebook. 2 laps left to go, and Henry Brody is chilling. There actually is Jenson Sedras on the number 2, still going round. Not supposed to. Yeah, I mean, why? I mean, didn't quite get the memo. He was very quickly briefed by the marshal, but out on track, won't be classified in the overall standings. So the 23 there you can see as our race leader, of course, going to get overtaken by the number 2 eventually, but will have no impact on the end result of this race. Henry Brody has ridden a fantastic race. Of course, unfortunately, we couldn't see a battle between himself and Tommy Williams because for whatever reason the 51 couldn't continue further than lap number 1. That does mean that Henry Brody is going to be able to continue extending that championship lead that he built after a very successful round at Lids. Tommy Williams then is going to take a huge hit of points, and Henry Brody is going to be able to take a good step forward.
Yeah, so Jenson Sedras on the 2 has now been officially disqualified from the race as a result, but is still out there on the racetrack. 1 lap left to go anyway as Henry Brody starts the final lap. I'm not sure if Sedras thinks he's leading or not, but it may be some slight heartbreak when he gets back to the pits because you are not allowed to rejoin the race if you come off the bike. So Henry Brody is now overall race leader, and well, both of our LC40 riders out of the race as well, and then there were 7 still going round. Still though, amidst all the drama and the chaos and the confusion of why are people still going round, Henry Brody has ridden a fantastic race. 3.1 seconds ahead of second place in the line last time as he comes to Paddock Bend for the final time. It has been flawless from the number 23. Simply hasn't put a wheel wrong. The 23 rounds the final corner. Henry Brody wins race number 3, not just in the AC40 Pro class, but overall as well. What a performance from him. What a ride. Yes, he didn't face many challenges, but he pushed onwards and rode a fantastic race. It's Henry Brody from Joey Athersic from Emerson Oakley, who is set to bring home P3. It's still waiting for him to come home and cross the line. His battle with Danny Longhurst is still raging on. They very may well swap places, should I say, yet. But what a race we've just seen. Obviously some drama in the middle of it, and Henry Brody came out trumps at the end.
Yeah, exactly. And again, you might argue that he was a little bit lucky with Williams going off and things like that, but you make your own luck when it comes to motor racing, right? Henry Brody, of course, very successful. We'll run you through the full results of this race. It's going to be all pros. Henry Brody taking victory ahead of Joey Athersic and Emerson Oakley in 3rd place. Danny Longhurst from Claudia Dudman, the top 5, from Ethan Bayliss and Oliver Wilson in 7th. We have a couple that fell off. That was Maxwell Keats and Jenson Sedras that came off their bikes. Tommy Williams as well will not be classified in the end results either, and that's going to bring an end to the Pro Elite split class. Race number 3, round number 2 here at Ellough Park, and well, that is another round in the books for these young riders. Very good stuff, and like I say, very well capitalised on from Henry Brody.
Yeah, it was, of course. He was set to take victory in class anyway, but with some chaos in front of him, he kept his head cool, kept it calm and collected, and managed to slide home, take the race 3 overall win as well. That's it for the AC40 Pros and the LC40 Elite. They'll be back out in about a month's time. Final race of the weekend for the senior Mini Motos. We may be a couple of riders down after incidents in race number 2, but man, oh man, what a race it was until that red flag came out. Zach Sweeney, some proper senior Mini Moto action.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, Matt Birkin, Rhys Gentry, David Meyer in the mix as well, all the way to the line in the end as well, with that 6-lap sprint that we had earlier in the day for race number 2. David Meyer, though, despite the fact he was contending for race victory, only lining up in 6th place. He was 1.1 seconds off the pole time set by Rhys Gentry. Of course, we'll run you through the full grid in a few moments' time. But those race starts just show how vital it is for you to be able to get that launch into turn 1. Matt Birkin as well, terrible off the line earlier on. He needs to sort that out, otherwise he's going to have a much harder affair here for race number 3.
Absolutely, the riders just making their way around to the grid before their sighting lap. Should be really interesting to see. Yeah, keep your eye on David Myatt, the number 22 from 6th. Very, very fast starting in race number 2. Of course, the front pair of Matt Birkin and Rhys Gentry as well, doing a spectacular job out there. After Rhys's fall in race 1 yesterday, it just left Matt Birkin to kind of cruise on home. Which, you know, I'm sure that some people enjoy that, but I don't know about you, but I'd much rather watch them having a proper battle out on the racetrack.
Yeah, indeed so. While they're on their formation lap, let's run you through the grid. It'll be Rhys Gentry lining up on pole position from Matt Birkin, joining him on the first row of the grid. Callum White from Mark Payne, row number 2 ahead of Keaton Payne, and David Myatt looking to launch his way from 6th place on the grid. Lamar Morgan, Chris Yeomans, row number 4 from Andy Whedon and Nick Bennett, the top 10. Gary Eldridge from Harvey Jeremy, Steve Johns, Peter Appleton, who I don't believe will be taking to the start, and then Rob Gentry there in 15th place. And rounding out the grid on the 8th row of the field, the senior Mini Moto class about to take to their final race of the weekend. And well, we're getting quite excited in the commentary box because we have got race 3 of the senior Mini Motos coming up.
Oh, this should be an absolute treat, of course. A big accident in race number 2. We are sending all of our best to Peter Appleton. Hopefully he's A-OK. But it, of course, did rob us of a fantastic race that was going on up the front all throughout the midfield as well. But the riders are making their way now to the grid. Just give them a few moments to sort themselves out, a few of them out of position. Of course, you don't have to maintain position on the sighting lap. You can kind of just trundle around however you want before you get to the grid. That's what Matt Birkin likes to do. He likes to just take it calm and cool and then almost scythe his way through the pack that's already waiting for him. Like, yeah, I'm the champion, give me my guard of honour. I don't know if he does it on purpose or not, but either way, it looks quite cool. One final time then at Ellough Park in 2025 then for the senior Mini Motos. Big jump start there from 5th on the grid. That looked like Keaton Payne, who got a bad launch, as Matt Birkin also doesn't get away well. Up the inside goes Mark Payne, can't quite get it. It was Rhys Gentry who bolted away at the start there. Matt Birkin still under pressure from Mark Payne, who was quick starting off of 4th place on the grid. But right now it's all clean as they make their way to the infield hairpin. It's Gentry from Birkin, from Payne, your top 3.
Could well have been the 3-2-2 of Callum White that didn't get off to the best of starts. A slight little twitch on the throttle just before the lights went out from 3rd place on the grid. Hopefully Race Control will investigate and get to the bottom of that as soon as possible. But Rhys Gentry able to establish a very early control in this race. Matt Birkin again not off to the best of starts, on the back foot, needs to sort of reignite this race, get back onto the back of the 100 machine. He's straight onto that. Now he's in his rhythm. He's settled back in. Rhys Gentry, his bliss was short-lived.
Yeah, not what Rhys Gentry would have wanted. I'm sure if he checked back quickly after turn 1, he would have thought, oh, fantastic, there is no one near me. But now Matt Birkin's up the inside at turn 1. Rhys Gentry potentially with an up and under. But for now, Birkin to the lead. Gentry with the momentum, though, does retake that position. Birkin sweeps to the inside, trading places like they're match attacks out there, just back and forth, nothing to separate them. This time it does look like Birkin has held on to the lead after Rhys Gentry takes a very liberal interpretation of track limits. 7 laps left to run in this one, and now Birkin that leads ahead of Rhys Gentry, but this battle's going to rage on for the rest of the race.
Yeah, you can bet your bottom dollar that's going to happen. 7 laps left to go, 6 of course at the line. Rhys Gentry, even though Matt Birkin got the measure of him, has got the pace to stay with and mix it up with the reigning champion, who of course took 8 victories over the course of 2024, 14 appearances on the podium, all of which were inside of the top 5. He DNF'd twice here at Ellough Park, but he bounced back in race 3 to take the victory, and it seems the history is repeating itself with this success in the final race of the day for the senior Mini Motos. 5.5 laps left to run. It's looking like David Amaya, not the lightning start that we saw in race 2, but still got the pace, and especially if these two continue to battle, the 22 will be right knocking on their door, especially as he's got the pace, setting the fastest lap that last time by.
Absolutely, that looks like Lamar Morgan having some issues. What a shame for him on his return to FAB-Racing this weekend. Some fantastic performances across the 2 races. Looks like race 3 is going to be a DNF for the 216. Rhys Gentry putting big pressure now on the reigning champ Matt Birkin. The number 1 plate glistening in the sunshine, but does it give him that little extra champion's advantage to stay ahead? We'll have to wait and see. 5 laps left to run at the start finish line, and Birkin and Gentry separated by only 1.5 tenths of a second. Gentry was quicker out of the two of them on the last lap of 53.714, running very, very fast out there indeed, and starting to chip closer and closer to that lap record set by Will Howarth back in 2021. Right now, though, it is Matt Birkin who is holding firm and holding on to the lead of this race. While they're battling, maybe David Mayat senses an opportunity to try and close up to the back of them, but the gap last time at the line, 1.5 seconds, so they're going to need to start fighting very, very hard for that to be the case.
Yeah, exactly. 4 laps left to go when they break the beam at the line. At the moment, like you say, they're running about 7 tenths of a second off lap record pace set by Will Howarth. That has stood for nearly 4 years. In fact, it will be 4 years in 3 weeks' time. So a very long-standing record. Of course, done on probably perfect conditions. We've not got suboptimal conditions. It's a very, very nice day for racing and definitely for setting lap times, but at the end of the weekend definitely becomes harder and harder as the tyres become more and more worn to set those blisteringly quick lap times. Matt Birkin able to bridge a little bit of a gap over Rhys Gentry over the course of the first sector here at Ellough Park. A couple of bike lengths and a quick look over at the shoulder just to sort of check the progress. Gentry not completely out of contention just yet, but if Matt Birkin can continue this consistent run of form, that gap only going to get bigger and bigger. It'll be interesting to see if David Mayat can get closer and closer.
It will be indeed. We'll have to wait and see. Nick Bennett continues to put the pressure on in front. Chris Yeoman's doing a great job trying to hold him off so far. Let's see if he is able to try and work his way around. Just in front of them, Callum White, who's had a bit of a disappointing weekend. I think a great qualifying from the other Birkin boy, the cousin of Matt Birkin, who started in P3 with a great lap, but it's just not quite come together in the races, unfortunately, for White. And he'll have to try and maybe make up some time next, or make up some ground next time, should I say, when we head to Hooton Park. Little look to the inside there for Nick Bennett. Just doesn't quite work, and they'll have to go again, maybe reset. Another look to the inside, didn't work that time either. 3 laps left to go. Chris Yeoman is doing a stoic defensive job right now.
Yeah, doing a really, really good job, just putting the bike exactly where it needs to be. Nick Bennett, by no means a poor rider, took a podium finish in 2025. In fact, here at Ellough Park, his best result of the weekend, his only time inside the top 10 that very weekend, in fact, as well. So, not looking too bad in terms of it being a happy hunting ground for the 7-1-1. However, Chris Yeoman's not bad himself, took a podium finish as well, albeit at Three Sisters the round later in 2024. So looking very, very strong as a contingent. However, the race for the lead is still on. Now side by side towards turn number 2. Matt Birkin has to go the long way round at turn number 2. Rhys Gentry trying to hold firm on the inside, but it just seems that all weekend long, Birkin has got the confidence to go the long way round. Gentry not quite got the measure of him just yet, with a lap and a half to go.
Really, really tight between the pair up the front. Does anybody give the other an inch? We'll have to wait and see. Birkin slightly wider line through the left-hand sweeper allows him a bit more momentum as they continue onwards, but as they're pushing onwards, still nowhere near the lap record as it stands. That was set by Will Howard some years ago. They're over a second off of that one, but lapping very, very quickly in the year 2025. The lap time seemingly dropping slightly so far. One final tour then. Birkin just ahead of Rhys Gentry, millimetres separating them at the line, only, well, 700 separating them at the line, should I say. It is so tight out there. Can Rhys Gentry find a way through?
He's running out of time. He needs to go for an all or nothing send. Matt Birkin knows exactly where Rhys Gentry is going to send the move, plant the bike exactly where he needs to as well. The gap, virtually nothing as they cross the line. Defensive into the sweepers. Matt Birkin put offline by Rhys Gentry, who doesn't quite have the speed to go the long way round. A slight look to the inside of the right-hand creep, and now they go up, back down into the chicane. Matt Birkin goes in slightly deep. Is it enough for Rhys Gentry to send the move? 2 corners left to right.
Maybe looking to the outside. It's going to have to be last chance saloon for Rhys Gentry. Does he have anything left in his locker? I don't think he will. It doesn't look like a drag race, and it does look like Matt Birkin will take race number 3. Once again, it is close. Just under 2 tenths separate them. But once again, it's Matt Birkin, the reigning champion, who takes a brilliant win. And wow, what a race we've seen. Oh, Nick Bennett has gone down on the very final lap as well. He was running in P8. That's coming out of the penultimate corner. And the 711 quite frankly, a miserable weekend out on track for him. He will bring it home. Looks like he will still be in P8 somehow as they cross the line. Gary Eldridge is quite a way behind by the looks of things. But Nick Bennett, that just puts a cap on a rotten weekend for him. But it is Matt Birkin that takes the victory with Rhys Gentry second. David Myatt bringing it home in P3. And just for a change, the all-black visor up for Matt Birkin. You can see inside, and just looks like he wants to go home, to be honest. No joy whatsoever. He was just like, yeah, I won the race, whatever. It is Matt Birkin that takes the race victory with Rhys Gentry in second and David Myatt rounding out the podium places. Keaton Payne was fourth with Mark Payne just behind. Callum White in P6 with Chris Yeoman seventh. Nick Bennett in P8. Gary Eldridge in P9 and Harvey Jeremy in P10. Man, oh man, what a race there for the senior Mini Motos, and that is their last race of the weekend as well, and that fills me with sadness. As they make their way back into pit lane then, the senior Mini Motos all done and dusted. What a weekend they've had. Again, it's a shame that they're not going around anymore today, but they'll be back out next time when we head to Houghton Park. Race number 3 for the Britson Electrical Services AC40 Interclass coming up next. And it has been a weekend dominated, no, a season dominated by one young rider so far. Nelly Knuth, the 44, has looked a little bit untouchable so far this year. But Finlay Styles has been edging closer and closer across the weekend. Is this the race where someone finally breaks Knuth's winning streak? Is this the race where Styles can be on top come the end?
Well, let's find out, because it's going to be a fantastic battle all the way through. Look out as well, Austin Dilks, a ride earlier, very reminiscent of something his brother would pull off. Of course, he was doing so well, that overtake on Noah Barfoot, then closing in on the top two. But yeah, Nelly Knuth outright has got the pace, got the consistency, and got the composure. But Finlay Styles, like you say, has been closing that gap, race on race, session on session, bridging ever closer in order to find a way through. So look out as they share the front row, and as to who's going to get the top step in the AC40 Interclass. Of course, brought to you by Britson Electrical Services, the final race of the day for these young riders. They're all eager to go, as you can see, revving the engines. Finlay Styles really wants to get going, because I would say this is his best chance yet to win a race.
It was closer in race 2 than it was in race 1, and there was moments where it looked like Styles might have been able to try and find his way through, try and find a race win, but ultimately it came to naught, as for much of the race the top 4 did battle with each other. We got to remember Noah Barfoot and Austin Dilks also in the conversation as the young riders make their way out to the grid before their sighting lap. Of course, this new class for 2025, the Britson Electrical Services AC40 Inters. 12mm exhaust restrictor on these things compared to the 10mm that we see in the Rookies Cup and the 14mm that we see up in the AC40 Pros and the LC40 Elites. It just gives you a little bit more waft, a little bit more power down the straights. Nothing too much to worry about though. Wind still whipping away. Not as bad as it was earlier on, but still pretty heavy at the moment. That's got to be something to consider going forward. But sun now blazing and shining. Once again, let's run through the grid. It's Nelly Knuth who starts on pole position with Finlay Styles alongside. Row 2 is Noah Barfoot and Austin Dilks with Randy Carter in P5 and Freddy Taylor in P6. Reed Saxelby is 7th, and rounding out our grid of 8 riders is Seth James. A fantastic race too we saw this morning, Zach, or it might have just been into the afternoon actually. The front 4 riders, for much of it, absolutely inseparable. Can we expect the same today?
Absolutely we can. I'm really looking forward to this race. Again, young riders, little bikes, but great racing. It's incredible how far beyond their years of experience they're already at in terms of a mental capacity, but equally their ability, right? They're accelerating their progress, and FAB-Racing gives these riders that platform in order to nurture their talent and really start honing in those skills. Nelly Knuth, of course, struggled a couple of times over last season with a lack of experience, of course, naturally very raw and very quick. but now she's starting to chip away and refine herself into a very, very strong young rider, especially with the pressure from Finley Styles, who's doing exactly the same. Noah Barfoot, Austin Dilks at the front four especially. These young riders, especially now in this new class with slightly faster bikes than what they're used to in the rookies, it's going to be a very, very good battle indeed. Let us know as well who you're cheering on for at home. Who do you think is going to win the final race of the day for the AC40 Interclass? Brought to you, of course, by Britson Electrical Services. It will be eyes to the lights. Nelly Luth on pole, Finley Styles alongside, just waiting for the final call. They get the nod. Lights on for the final time here at Ellough Park for the Interclass. Lights out, we go racing, and a good launch there from Nelly Luth, an even better launch there from Noah Barfoot, straight up into second place. Who has to settle now for third is Finley Styles. He's dropped back off the initial get-go, straight away trying to launch a counter-attack, but Nelly Luth comfortable and in the lead.
Yeah, really disappointing start there for Finley Styles from second, and now having to fight his way through Noah Barfoot, who looks delighted to be up there, a higher step on the podium than he started on the grid. So pushing forward, Nuth already trying to extend that gap just a little bit. She's not vanished off into the distance, but she has got a healthy bit of breathing room behind her. Let's see if she can continue to extend, or maybe the riders behind can continue to keep pace, as we've seen across two races so far this weekend. Indeed, Barfoot looks like he is closing in ever so slightly, very deep in the final corner there from Finley Styles. The number 19 clearly not that settled in this race, and now under big pressure from the 85 of Austin Dilks behind as they complete lap one. It's Nuth from Barfoot, from Styles, your top three. Austin Dilks, though, very may well be up into the podium places before too long, because again, Styles just doesn't look settled right now.
Yeah, not quite what we saw in race two. And to be fair, I'm really impressed with what Noah Barfoot's been able to output thus far in this race. A strong start, and now let's see if he's got the longevity and the stamina to keep that up over the duration of the entire race. The, of course, 85 of Austin Dilks trying to find a way through on Finley Styles, and that would be the last thing that Styles needs. He needs to recompose himself, lock back into this race, find that rhythm, and if he's overtaken by Austin Dilks, that's going to throw all of that progress over the last couple of laps straight out of the window. We've got a four-rider train here for the lead, led by Nelly Luth, but it's Noah Barfoot with the pace. 7 laps left to go, 6 of course at the line. It could be any which way in terms of the race lead. Nelly Luth will lead another lap from Barfoot, Styles, then Dilks, and then of course a little bit of a gap back to Reed Saxby. He's rounding off at the top 5, but not completely out of it. The fight for the lead though is coming down to these 4.
Once again, the top 4 on the grid, forming a train amongst themselves. A little bit of a different order than we saw in race number 2, it must be said, but still going on and putting on a display for us to enjoy. Finley Styles still struggling a little bit, still under big pressure as a rider down there.
Seth James.
That is Seth James, the number 13, who has had a pretty rotten weekend, unfortunately, by his standards. It really hasn't gone his way for Seth James. And that can bounce Nelly Luth off the road. What is going on with Nelly Luth? Yellow flags are out. Nelly Luth has come screeching to a halt at the final corner. Is the bike okay? The chain is on. Is there a problem? She's twiddling or trying to fix something. I wonder if it's just conked out, and indeed it has. Disaster for the championship leader, and it opens the door wide open for Barfoot, Styles and Dilks.
Yeah, the stakes in this race have just ramped up. The tyrant of the AC40 Interclass is now out of contention, out completely of this race. It comes down to Barfoot, Styles, Dilks, separated by just half a second. A rare retirement from Nelly Luth. We haven't seen any retirement from her in her entire career of Fab. In fact, that's a lie. It was race 3 at Ellough Park the first time around. History has repeated itself. It wasn't a great weekend for her back then, but she was able to bounce back after that. She won 4 races in a row. So the future looks bright for Nelly Luth.
You never know, but that 5-race winning streak to start 2025 in the Brits at AC40 Inters for Nelly Luth has come crashing down at an end. And although last year Ellough Park was her bogey track, it looked like she fixed it this year, but somehow it's come back to haunt her. Those race 3 mechanical demons, a real shame. But now, huge opportunities up the front. Barfoot, Styles, Dilks. One of these 3, unless there is some sort of cataclysmic disaster, is going to win this race. It's currently Barfoot that is at the front of the pack, Styles just behind. You'd think going into this that he'd be the favourite out of the 3. He was the one that was really pushing Nuth in race 2. He started second on the grid, but he has struggled in this final race of the weekend. Just doesn't seem quite comfortable with the bike, can't quite seem to get it working properly underneath him. And right now Barfoot has not a healthy gap, but enough of a gap to stay in the lead as they bomb down to Paddock Bend. It'll be 3 laps left to go when they get to the line this time, as the crowd fervently watches along trackside. Who is going to be on top at the end of this race?
Well, we'll find out in 3 laps time. Barfoot breaks the beam first. Finley Styles all over him in second place on the number 19 machine, of course. Austin Dilks as well, just in the background. They fly in formation towards turn number 2. Austin Dilks, of course, getting a slightly better line through the long sweeping right-hander, but no contention being made. Slightly offline there from Noah Barfoot. Could open the door for Styles, but it seems that all 3 of them are now settled into a rhythm. Styles seems a little bit more comfortable on the bike. I think it was just initially Barfoot stepped up rather than Styles stepping down. The question is now, who's going to be the one to rise to the occasion and take victory in this race? The problem for Styles, like we've been saying all weekend long in terms of these pack races, forwards to attack, backwards to defend. Dilks is not going to be relinquishing second place if he has an opportunity to, and Barfoot is going to be defending first place for his life. So Styles is in a bit of a pickle.
He is indeed. A little bit deep there at Paddock Bend from Austin Dilks, though. That maybe gives Styles the breathing room behind to go on the attack as they start the penultimate lap of the race. And indeed, the number 19 does look to the inside at turn 1. Tries to the extreme inside this time. Does he get the run into turn 2? No. Barfoot will sweep round the outside, and they will all maintain position as they were. A little bit wide there from Barfoot. Is the opportunity still there? Slight shattering on the front from the number 19. He will run wide as a result, and still no change. It's going down to the wire, but right now nobody looks like they can get an advantage over anyone. They're all just going to hold the status quo to the end.
Yeah, exactly. At the moment, it just seems to be a bit of a stalemate, albeit a stalemate that none of them want to keep. They want to have a battle. They want to find a way through, but no gaps are opening up, no opportunities are opening up, and that's the level of competition we're rising to. These young riders, so bulletproof, no mistakes being made. A slight twitch there actually from Finley Styles, not quite able to get the acceleration he wanted to towards turn number 1. 1 lap left to go. It's all or nothing for the final tour of Ellough Park.
Let's see if someone has something magical that they can pull out of the top drawer late in this one. Styles, another look to the inside of turn 2. Nothing on that occasion, but you can tell the desperation just starting to seep in a little bit. Everyone's starting to get nervous, everyone knowing it all comes down to this. Which one of these 3 will be the first race winner that's name is not Nelly Nuke in 2025 in the Brits and Electrical Services AC40 Interclass? Right now, it looks like it's going to be the 36 of Noah Barfoot as they round and come down into the Paddock hairpin for the very final time this weekend. Styles sends it a bit too deep. Door potentially open for Dilks. Styles, one last dive to the inside at the penultimate corner. It's not going to happen. Drag race potentially. Noah Barfoot will take race number 3 and will take his first race win of the season to boot. On the final lap, Austin Dilks set the fastest lap of the race of 54.894, but Styles and Barfoot both 54.9. Nothing to separate all 3 of them all weekend long, and still in race number 3, it's down to the death. Noah Barfoot takes victory from Finley Styles from Austin Dilks.
That was absolutely magical, and congratulations to Noah Barfoot. The crowd were going wild as he crossed the line. And that's the level you've got to rise to. It was a good start. He started 3rd place on the grid. His initial qualifying lap was 1.5 seconds slower than Nelly Nuth, but that progress over the weekend, refining a bit more here and there. I'm going to be honest, after race 2, I didn't think he was going to be able to, but something switched for race number 3, and Noah Barfoot was able to take the victory. But it could have gone any which way. All 3 were deserving. Only one of them could take to the top step in the end. That's going to wrap it up, of course, for the AC40 Interclass, brought to you, of course, by Brixton Electrical Services. These guys will be back out in a month's time when we take to round number 3, the MasterMac FAB-Racing British Minibike Championship. But heartbreak for Nelly Nuth, her first DNF in over a year.
Yeah, bizarre what happened there. I mean, we didn't really fully see what happened, but I looked at the bike just conked out, and there we can see Chief Mechanic / Dad trying to have a fix and see what the problem is. Of course, Nelly, the reigning House of Moto Cup champion, the all-female Ryder Cup, the first of its kind in grassroots British motorsport. That all-female riders are competing in across all the classes. And, you know, it's a championship. Whoever gets the most points at the end of the season wins. She'll be trying to replicate that success this year as well. But it is a very disappointing end to the second round of the 2025 season for Nelly Nuth.
The premier class then of FAB-Racing. It's the Metrokit Mini GP 70s taking to the track for the highlight, the start race of the weekend. There we can see a very lovely big sight of the helicopter flying over track, hopefully getting a lovely view of the racing that we've got going on, and a very gold, shiny graphic ready for the premier class of British mini bike racing. And well, these are the stars of the future here today. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, if you are now just joining us, you're joining us at the perfect time for the MasterMac FAB-Racing British Mini Bike Championship. The Metrokit Mini GP 70s about to take to the track, and what racing that we've seen thus far. One of the most competitive classes in the entire field, in the entire paddock, and they're taking it to the grid now. We've got a very competitive field. Of course, Harrison Day, Frankie Watson, Finley Polhill and Travis Shaw. We'll run you through the full grid in a moment, but those top four, incredibly close. They were locked in a battle throughout the entirety of race 2 a little bit earlier on. It was Harrison Day that was able to get the measure. Look out for Frankie Watson as well. Got off to a poor start earlier on in the day, fell back to sort of 6th or 7th, and then was able to recover to, in the end, it was P4, but couldn't quite make his way up to 3rd. Of course, the wind picking up here at Ellough Park. You'll see the flags frantically waving, hair frantically waving as well. And that's going to add an extra level of sensitivity to these bikes that these riders are going to have to battle and contend with. On to the sighting lap. So let's talk you through the grid order. It's Harrison Day on pole position, but it was less than half a tenth of a second, a quarter of a tenth of a second between himself and Frankie Watson, who shares the front row. Finley Polhill from Travis Shaw, the second row from Taylor Tomlinson and Matthew Thomas, who share row 3. Logan Cousins from Leo Soliu and Riley Paisley. Taylor Davies, the top 10, with one lonely rider as well, back on the 6th row of the field. Making their way around the formation lap. I'm looking forward to seeing what this race has in store for us. Again, the first of our geared bike classes, the premier class in FAB-Racing. This is the one that they all want to win. The final step for junior riders before they make that step, going towards the likes of the RNG British Talent Cup, of course then to the European Talent Cup, or even then eventually Red Bull Rookies, as has been the case with likes of Sullivan Moundy, who's now racing in that championship, Lucas Brown as well, after winning the RNG British Talent Cup in 2024. This is that step that these young riders will need to make, and the champions of tomorrow here today. And some final words being shared between Harrison Day and his dad Josh, of course, before they take to the start. And Ross, what can we expect?
Expect some more chaos, expect some more fierce racing, and expect Harrison Day to go into this one with a vengeance as well. He wants at least 2 wins this weekend. Frankie Watson, though, as well. A disappointing race too. He'll be looking for a strong recovery. Red lights come on. It is lights out and we're underway. Disappointing start there for Harrison Day, but will still keep the lead after the fast starting race 2 man. Finley Polhill just seemingly doesn't pull away. He'll have to work his way through the back. This time though, Frankie Watson gets away a lot better as well, so he maintains that second place. He can try and attack Harrison Day now instead of working his way back through the pack.
Yeah, exactly. The hard work over race 2 for Frankie Watson came from recovering. It wasn't even using his pace to fight for the win. Now he's put himself in a position where he can contend. Finley Polhill, like you say, good start for race 2, not the best for race number 3. He's going to have to do what Watson did earlier on right now. But Harrison Day with the composure, whatever advice his dad's been giving him over the course of the winter and into this season, he was good before, he's brilliant now here in FAB-Racing.
Absolutely, of course, Harrison coming from racing background. His dad Josh, a former British superbike rider, and looks like the boy's made from the same cloth as well, because he is some talent indeed. It is then Harrison Day that leads, Frankie Watson second, Travis Shaw third place, Taylor Tomlinson up in fourth. I reckon we watch the 77, keep an eye on him, because that would be a great result for him if he's able to slide up into the podium places. Former FAB-Racing Rookies Cup champion, former FAB-Racing and AC40 Elites champion as well. Be good to see him stepping into the podium places. But Day leads from Watson, from Shaw. Further back, everyone seems to be running their own pace. A couple of riders dropping back a little bit at the rear of the field, but a lot of them, quite frankly, in this train. Behind Tomlinson, it's not too far at all to the 19 Finley Polhill, who himself only has a very, very slight advantage, as you can see, over Matthew Thomas as they start the next lap of the race. And on the previous tour as well, Finley Polhill, the number 99, setting the fastest lap of the race as well. So things starting to get a bit interesting. Finlay Polhill looks like he may have a lot of pace on board that bike again, but this time he will have to work his way through the pack instead of getting the lightning start that he did in race number 2. It didn't quite work out that way for him. Frankie Watson still keeping Harrison Day in check though, and look at this train, it's massive. Absolutely massive, and all of the riders keeping each other there, keeping each other in check. Harrison Day, I think he would have got into this one going, oh, this will be easy, I can just check out and disappear into the distance, as Polhill starts to look on Taylor. Tomlinson didn't get through in a big wobble as he hit the accelerator pedal as well, so wasn't able to slide by, but Tomlinson now surely feeling the pressure just a little bit. But up the front, I thought Harrison Day would have bolted away at the start, and I think he would have thought the same thing, but not for the moment, because all of these riders are really close together. Look at the rear of the bike moving underneath Finlay Polhill as he slams on the anchors and slides up the inside of Taylor Tomlinson. Tomlinson didn't really defend that hard. Enough of the door was ajar for the 99 to slide through, and Polhill now up to 4th place.
Yeah, exactly, but it's not what he wanted to be. It's not an overtake he wants to be making. It's not an overtake he should be making. He should be in front of Travis Shaw. He should be mixing it up with Day and Watson, but now with just 7 laps left to go, of course the short race distance for these riders, they need to get a move on. Frankie Watson with a good look to the inside of Harrison Day. Travis Shaw not a million miles away either, looking for his first win, of course in the 70s, managed to do it 5 times in the 50s over 2024, looking for his first on the 70. 6 laps left to go. Harrison Day leads Frankie Watson, Travis Shaw there as well. Polhill, now he's cleared the rest of the field, can start to reel these 3 in. However, he's got a huge mountain still to climb to win this race.
And again, 6 laps is not as long as he would have liked. Shorten race 3s for any of the bigger geared bikes here this weekend at Ellough Park as a result of the delays we had earlier in the day. So maybe not quite a flat-out sprint event, but it certainly makes things a bit more interesting. It certainly reduces the time out on track, of course. Means you've got to get a shift on a bit quicker, but Polhill continuing to set fastest lap after fastest lap after fastest lap. Last time around, a 57.660, getting or 47 should I say, getting really quick. Here's Finlay Polhill again, clear air in front of him, he's starting to get a move on. I don't think it's going to be too long, Zach, till he's right at the back of this train and we've got a 4-way fight for the lead.
Yeah, exactly, but time is of the essence. He cannot afford to be waiting around. He needs to be flat out from now all the way to the checker flag if he wants even a slither of hope in order to do it. And he's got 3 of Fab's best riders in front of him, stopping him from taking that victory. Harrison Day, though, has been on top form. Frankie Watson, one of the biggest prodigies in the FAB-Racing paddock, did so well in the 50 Championship. His appearances in the 70s as well. Now with a full season campaign in 2025. Didn't get off to the best of start earlier in race 2, but he's recovering. He's got redemption, but you have to give credit to Harrison Day. No matter who he's been up against, he's been able to come out on top. Will race 3 be any different?
We'll have to wait and see. Harrison Day holding on for the time being. Frankie Watson under attack there from Travis Shaw, who had a look to the inside of the 14. Didn't find anything, decided to hold position for now, but maybe that's a little warning shot in the direction of the 2nd place rider, just letting him know I'm here and I'm also in this race. It's not all about the man at the front of the pack, the pink helmet and orange leathered Harrison Day. So we'll have to wait and see how this is going to shape up. Finlay Polhill still not quite on the back of them. I think the front runners have upped their pace just a little bit as well. So Polhill, he's in form. It's there. He's within a second of the riders in front, but he's just not quite in this battle just yet. Still a little bit to go before he gets there. Running out of laps as well. It's only 3 left to go now.
Yeah, exactly that. Travis Shaw all over the rear end of Frankie Watson as well, so he needs to be able to sort of get a move on Harrison Day before Travis Shaw starts having a bit of a look. Finlay Polhill, as things stand, seems to be the rider with the fast lap of the race. 47.660 on his recovery ride towards the front, but it's not a recovery ride he wanted to have. He needed a similar start to that he got in race number 2. 2 laps left to go at the line. Still 3 riders in realistic contention. 4th with an outside shot sure as that gap is closing. Frankie Watson, though, needs to start applying some pressure. Maybe he'll have a look towards turn 1.
2 to go as they cross the line. Watson looks to the inside on Day. Doesn't find anything on that occasion, but now feeling very racy as the number 14 feels like he could try and slide his way through. The pole sitter who has held on to the lead since the lights went out. Shaw now having a look. Pole Hill closing in as well. We are setting up to an absolute blockbuster of an ending to the weekend here in the Mini GP 70s as they come down to the bottom end of the racetrack, over the crest and down into the dip before the big right-hander making their way through. Pole Hill is right there, front end picking up ever so slightly as they come down to Paddock Bend, and now the front four inseparable, rounding the penultimate corner. 1 lap to go. Any one of these guys could win this race.
Let's bring it on. One more tour of Ellough Park. Harrison Day leads them over the line. He's led every lap of this race thus far, but here's the all-important one. He has to go slightly defensive to deter the move into turn number 2. Frankie Watson, now he needs to try everything, anything he's got left. He needs to throw the way of Harrison Day. Travis Shaw as well has sat there in 3rd place. Has he got any say in the outcome of this race? Finley Polhill looking menacing in 4th place as well. Just half a lap left to go. Harrison Day looks comfortable.
He does indeed, but does he hold on to the end? There's only a handful of corners to go. Was that Polhill making a move on Travis Shaw? And I believe it was an attempt. It wasn't close enough, and it's ended up costing him. Bit of traffic just in front. Is that going to change things? No. Riley Paisley gets well out of the way. Drag race down to the line. Does Frankie Watson have anything as they go to the checkered flag? It will be Harrison Day that takes victory. Yet another win in this round, with the winning margin being less than a 1/10 of a second, with 67,000 separating the top 2 and the top 4 all covered by 5/10 of a second. It's Harrison Day who takes the win from Frankie Watson, from Travis Shaw, from Finley Polhill. Ultimately, no moves were made there at the end, but boy, oh boy, what a tense race. If only Polhill hadn't have got that disappointing start, he very may well have been there the entire time, and things may have just been a little bit different. It is Day from Watson, from Shaw, from Polhill, your top 4. With Taylor Tomlinson 5th, Matthew Thomas 6th, Logan Cousins 7th, Leo Solio in P8, Taylor Davis was P9, and Riley Paisley was out on the racetrack. Looks like he may have had a transponder issue. I believe he came home in P10. That is it for Fab Racing's Premier Class. The Mini GP 70s done and dusted here at the second round of the MasterMac Fab Racing Minibike British Championship. What a way to end things though, Zach.
Yeah, really, really good stuff. Harrison Day thwarting the pressure, and you might be looking at being like, well, the top 4 didn't really make any moves on each other. Was it really that exciting? Yes, because you suspended in anticipation the entire race. Frankie Watson throwing everything at Harrison Day. There was 4 riders there on the absolute limit, and well, we'll see these guys back out for round number 3 of 2025.
Final race of the weekend in the Pit Bike 140s, and one question on everybody's lips so far here at Ellough Park: can anybody stop the tractor boy? Richard Holmes-Williams has been untouchable so far across the 2 races. Yes, his rivals may be suffering. We've seen Chris Wells having some bike gremlins across the weekend, Jamie King racing wounded after a big high side on Friday, but so far nobody has even got close. The riders making their way out onto the grid before their sighting lap, and well, the Ipswich native Richard Holmes-Williams, he's got to be feeling confident heading into race number 3. He could be sweeping the weekend here.
He could be indeed, and that would be the first time we see it, of course, this season. Granted, we're only on round number 2, but he's been on top form, and earlier we were talking, of course, about Jamie King winning on home soil. He was able to do it quite recently. It was the final round of 2024 where we took to Ellough Park, and he did tip that very man the 1-2-6 2-race victory. Can he do it again? Because he just didn't quite seem to have the pace. At best, he was able to match the 1-2-6. He needs better than that.
He does indeed. Getting sent round on their sighting lap, then let's run through the grid for the final time this weekend. It is Richard Holmes-Williams that starts on pole. Jamie King alongside Chris Wells, the 2023 champions, P3. Ben Cottsgrove starts in 4th place. 3rd row is Harrison Quincy, followed by Zach Tarim. Joshua French is 7th with Simon Gates alongside. Keaton Payne starts P9, and Ashley Powell rounds out the top 10. Danny Knight's Rush is 11th alongside Harry Burrell. Row 7 is James Ratcliffe with Nathan Gardner P14. Perry Thompson is 15th with Daniel Gilbert alongside. Danny Cottsgrove is 17th with Robert Baldock in 18th. Dan French and Adam Thornborough rounding out the top 20. 21st is Bradley Powell with Lucas Kakowski starting 22nd. Zach Andrews is 23rd with Monty Cotgrove in 24th, and Robert Ledfridge starting in 25th place. A big grid, the biggest grid in fact that we've got this weekend here in the pit bike. It's been a while since I think we've been able to say that, but it means the racing is going to be very, very exciting indeed. Again, Jamie King's plan in race number 2, or his attempted plan in race number 2 anyway, he was going to try and jump Richard Holmes-Williams at the start and control the pace from the front, because he doesn't have the pace to get through on his own. Wasn't able to do that there. Can he do it in race number 3?
Well, we'll find out. He has already taken a win this season. It was race 3 back at Lydd that Jamie King was able to tip Chris Wells to victory. So at least he's already got that weight off his shoulder, dissimilar to 2024. Let's see if he can do it here on home soil at Ellough Park. Lights come on for the final time for the Bit Bike 140. Jump start in the background for the 52 machine. We go racing. Jamie King gets off to a rocket ship of a start and throws himself into the race lead going into turn number 1. Richard Holmes-Williams doesn't quite have a counter-attack, tries to go for a switchback, but to no avail towards turn number 2. Jamie King leads. However, the door opens back up. Richard Holmes-Williams does exactly what he did in race 2, straight back up the inside of Jamie King.
Straight out of the gates, aggression from King, aggression from Holmes-Williams. This race is going to be elbows out if King can keep pace with the 1-2-6. Let's wait and find out what Pit Bike Sonic has in his back pocket as they make their way down to the bottom end of the racetrack for the first time. Looks like Chris Wells got a good start as well, and we've got a big one. That's a huge, huge crash down the bottom end of the racetrack, and that is a red flag, understandably so. Another red flag here at Ellough Park. Huge, huge crash. We'll let you know that everyone is okay as soon as we know, and we'll let you know who that is that was involved as well. But yeah, big one as the riders bring it into a stop. Must be said though, out of the gates, super, super aggressive we saw there from our 2 on the front row. Jamie King with a massive, massive dive up the inside, almost coming together with Richard Holmes-Williams at turn 1. Holmes-Williams returned the favour down at turn 3. Already, bit of elbows out, bit of argy-bargy.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, it was a really good start for Jamie King, and he just got that initial clutch release that allowed him to get to the inside. And we saw there, really aggressively opened up turn number 1 to get the move done. Unable to stop the switchback from Richard Holmes-Williams. Controlled going into turn 2, but I think just asked a bit too much of the bike, then had to sit it back up for the second apex of the long right-hander. And Richard Holmes-Williams just went, oh, hang on, there's a gap on the inside. Jamie King, mate, what are you doing? I'm going up the inside of you, and that's exactly what he done. Jamie King gave an inkling, and it's not even like he's making big mistakes. I mean, we give him a lot of grief, but it wasn't a big mistake that he'd made. It was just a tiny error that just left the gap up, a little bit of understeer. Holmes-Williams straight up the inside to recapitalise. Of course, we'll update you as to who's involved and things, and as soon as when we can get back racing, as soon as the ambulance crew has tended to the downed rider. But when it comes to this racing, getting it back underway, Jamie King, he needs another good start. He just needs to be able to hold that race lead, because once he's settled into a rhythm of the start of the race, that's going to make it so much harder for Holmes-Williams to actually launch that counter-attack. He used the momentum of it being so recent to find a way through.
Yeah, riders are just being sent back to the holding area. Hopefully we're going to be able to get a full race restart underway as soon as we possibly can. And as you said, Zach, we will keep you updated with what is going on as soon as we know. Our third red flag of the day here. Sunday's action at Ellough Park. A few delays, unfortunately, but safety is paramount. And of course, we want to make sure that anybody involved in a serious crash is A-OK. So a big thank you to the marshals and to the medics for their quick work once again. And of course, well, we wouldn't be able to go racing without them, quite frankly. There is a nickname for marshals. I can't remember what it is, but it is, they do always do a fantastic job. So a big thank you to all the marshals and the medics for, doing their efforts. And, unfortunate that we got another delay, but we want to make sure that everyone's okay. Safety, of course, absolutely paramount here in the MasterMac FAB-Racing Minibike British Championship. So that is a big off, unfortunately, and we are looking at perhaps a little delay. The red flag's out if you are just joining us in race number 3 of the Pit Bike 140s here. So that gives an opportunity at least for the riders to reset and go again. Jamie King knows that he can't leave the door open this time. He seemingly forgets every single time he gets to that infield hairpin that there's a possibility of someone going up the inside of him, because he's done it like 4 or 5 times now across the years where we're leading a race and he just leaves the door wide open and someone bombs it straight back through.
Up the inside. Jamie King, of course, it's happened a number of times, but he can still manage to count the amount of times it's happened on one hand, funnily enough. But it's just small mistakes here and there. I mean, obviously last year with Lucas Brown just left the inside open. It's just one of those things that he's got a habit of doing, and you'd think a rider of his experience would be able to think better of it. Of course, we give Jamie a lot of grief. He knows it's partially banter. We are being serious to a tone because he does still do it. But he's a rider that, of course, has got the pace, has got the ability. It's just small, tiny errors that people then capitalise on. Of course, he's out there for as much fun as possible. But we saw in the highlights, of course, towards the end when he took that victory here on home soil, how much it meant to him. The celebrations were paramount. He invests a lot of money, a lot of time into this track and honing his craft. That's what it means to win races, win championships as a rider. And that's not going to stop him. He is trying his utmost. It's not for a lack of trying that he's not been able to win thus far this weekend. He just needs something a little bit extra, maybe just a little bit more tentativeness going into turn number 3.
Well then, if you are just joining us, or if you've been with us for a little while, we are here in the middle of a red flag delay in the middle of the final race of the weekend for the Pit Bike 140s. Unfortunately, another red flag affecting things here at Ellough Park, the second round of the MasterMac FAB-Racing Mini Bike British Championship. So while we're waiting, and of course we will let you know what is going on as soon as we know, we'll let you know that everyone is okay as soon as we know that everyone is okay. But while we are waiting for things to get sorted out for the marshals and the medics to give the all clear and for us to go racing again, why don't we once again go for a trip back in time to only just last year, and me and Zach can run you through some of the highlights of the 2024 season.
Right then, should we get on with this then? It is lights down. We are underway in FAB-Racing in 2024.
For the lead into the final corner, nicely done.
It's lights out. We are underway. It's an okay start from our Joe Prime, but a great start from Wilson Dill. Pressure from the 911 of Jensen Bishop, who had a rocket ship of a start there. And there goes Jensen Bishop up the inside.
Pressure, Jensen Bishop with an absolute flyer of a start in that 911 machine. Looking to the outside of the second chicane. Goodness me, what a move! Close enough for a sense, or is Wilson Dill's going to take victory here for the LS2 Mini GP70 race? Round number 1, race 1, from pole position goes the way of Wilson Dill.
We're on the way in the opening race of the AC40 Pro. It is Wilson Dilts who's going to take the first win of the day. Brilliant racing from the 85. Archie O'Brien manages to hold on to second place. The finger wag shows all you need to know. He's number 1, but who's going to be number 3? Caden Ratcliffe takes second. I believe Preston Baker. We are underway. Lucas Brown gets a good launch. So does Jamie King. So does the 20 of Avi Garrett. King to the lead in turn
1. Right now, he has got a good chance of doing it.
Leading the British Talent Cup at the moment. King's left the door open. Brown sits him up. But it's not over yet. Jamie King is still in this fight. It's Lucas Brown I've stolen another death. Checkered flag waves. Lucas Brown wins. Is everybody okay out there?
Wow, that's a very different looking flag marshal in the form of Jamie King. Goodness me, he's been promoted.
And here drops now, we're on the way. What a start there from John Perkins. Let me get down, get out to see it jump around.
Oliver Hall trying to launch a counter-attack and put his way back into P4 as they round into the first corner of the circuit. He's on the inside and he takes the position quite nicely indeed. Getting underneath, and goodness me, Logan Cousins is not even going to matter about the penalty. He rounds his way towards the final corner in the race lead.
Ryan nose to the inside as they roll off the throttle to tip it in and straight back on it again. He's going to have to hold on to second. Coming on to the final lap now. This is going to the wire.
It really is. Let's see what Archie O'Brien can do. Last lap flag is flown. Archie O'Brien this time to the left-hand side as they run their way up through the ascent. Not quite close enough, but he's going to try and get the upcut. He's been teetering on the edge of hitting it. Who is going to come out on top is this one? Archie O'Brien looks a mistake from Dills as they're searching for victory. 2 corners left to go.
This is neck and neck. Any of the top 4 could be on top. But to the line, drag race stop. O'Brien inside, Dills outside. Wilson Dills by 700 takes it at the line. Jump up, get down, jump around, jump. Baker, does he make it stick as they go side? Oh, brilliant from Preston Baker. Last chance saloon. Is it over though? Is it a drag race? Up to the line. I think it's done. I think it will be Preston Baker.
Jamie King sees the checkered flag first and is victorious at Three Sisters. Finally, he's able to accelerate.
And you can see how much that means. Years of disappointment, years of pain fade away in an instant.
Sean knows, he knows what to expect, and he chucks the bike back through and retakes the race lead. It's coming down to the wire. Hot fight for the championship. Byron Johnson, the outside line through the bootleg. Shaw once again sees it coming. They're going to accelerate their way to the line, and it's a slow exit for Johnson. A track race for the checkered flag. Who's going to see it first? Travis Shaw takes victory for the Mini GP 50 race. Race 3. Team Stu Wilson and Roy brings you this amazing championship. Round 4 of the LS2 helmets Mini GP 70s is about to get itself underway. Big wheelie there from Wilson Dilks as he jumps 2 riders going into turn 1. What an absolutely sensational launch, it must be said. He is flying. Look there, goodness me, Byron Johnson loves that move to the inside of Sonny Ben. Byron Johnson runs wide out Sonny Ben, but gets the acceleration inside line for the final corner and takes the race lead with 5 laps left to go in the LS2 helmets Mini GP 70s.
Here we go, the run to the line, and it's Byron Johnson who wins his first ever Metchkit 70 race. Congratulations, Byron Johnson.
Here's some good sportsmanship from Byron, giving Wilson Dilks, his fellow competitor, a ride back to pit lane, which was very nice. That poor suspension looks quite down, I must say.
Leaders champions side by side. That is the 96 of Caleb Ratcliffe. Race number 3 of round 4 goes the way of the 991 of Rex Austin, who waited patiently. We are underway. Great start there for Will Halt. And there is nothing to separate Will Halt and Matt Perkins, who tries to launch the move into Billy's bend but runs it way too deep. Amy King muscles him out into turn 1 and will take the lead of the race, as well as Ollie Horner, I believe that is, sliding up into second briefly. And number 4 for Jamie King, Pit Bike Sonic. Logan Cousins is your 2024 08 Logistics LC40 Elite Champion. What a weekend. What a year for that young man. He has been absolutely phenomenal. Of course, sharing some congratulations, great respect shown there by Mason Fedrick, with a little burnout to boot from the pair of them as well. It is lights out and we are underway. Bit of a pickup there from Byron Johnson. Look at Wilson Dilks to the inside. But as he rounds the final few corners, it is brilliance from Byron Johnson to take victory in race 1 here at Ellough Park. It is lights out and it is a great start once again from Nelly Nuth, but Emilio Pereira, great phase 2, Nuth to the inside. And he is the 2024 Standard Class champion. Points to the camera, not just a champion, but a winning race number 1 as well.
Say marry me on the back of the shirt. I'm sure he's flattered, Kim, but...
Corners to go for the number 96 for a dominant overall victory and a victory in the open class as well. Will Howard pops the wheelie out of the final bend and he will be victorious in race number 1. What a victory for the number 96, but we wait for the number 1 bike to cross the line. Sean Whittaker will take the Standard Class victory, surely. For the second time, Matt Perkin is the senior Mini Moto champion in FAB-Racing.
It's going to be a track race through the line, but I think it's going to be Richard Holmes-Williams that sees the checkered third. Could it well be King? I think not. He does. He takes it by 12,000th of a second. Jamie King wins it at Ellough Park.
What on earth, Jamie King? How's he done that one? How's he pulled that one out of the bag? He's won by 1200ths of a second. That's unreal.
On the road to MotoGP and the feeder series to the British Talent Cup and Red Bull Rookies, this is FAB-Racing Minibikes British Championship.
Hello and welcome back here at round 2 of the MasterMac FAB-Racing Minibike British Championship here at Ellough Park. Unfortunately, after our most recent red flag delay, we have run out of time. The decision has been made to call the days and the weekends racing there. So a few races, unfortunately, we are not going to be able to complete. They will have to be completed somewhere later on down the season. Zach Sweeney, that is not the way that we want to see racing end, and not the way that we want to see the weekend ends, but unfortunately, accidents happen, red flags happen. We've just run out of time here today.
Yeah, it's the sport that we signed up to do, isn't it? I mean, at the end of the day, we know that there's an occupational hazard of sorts when it comes to motorsport, and that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. Though it's easy to dwell on the negative, we had some amazing racing throughout the entirety of the day. Of course, we're not going to be able to see any more, but what it does do is set us up for an incredible rest of the season here in 2025.
It does indeed. A big thank you for joining us for all of our coverage across this weekend. Myself, Ross McIntyre, Zach Sweeney alongside me today, Izzy Higgs alongside me yesterday in the commentary box, bringing you all of the action, be it here on Motorsport Radio or on the FAB-Racing social media and YouTube pages, and we hope you enjoyed all of the action. Big thank you, of course, to the marshals and the medics for helping us to go racing and for making sure that everybody was safe and okay. A few big accidents today. They were straight to the scene, making sure that everyone was receiving the best treatment possible. And make sure that you like, share, subscribe and all of the above to help get these riders' names out there and help put FAB-Racing and establish it in the world of motorcycle racing. Thank you very much for joining us. Join us in about a month's time when we head to Houghton Park on Merseyside for the 3rd round of the 2025 season.
On the road to MotoGP.
1, 2, 3.